Everybody doing? This is welcome to Virginia Movers estimating meeting. My name is Wes Stewart. I'm president of Virginia Movers Warehousing Association for you today. This is the third meeting that we've had. What's the recap, Roger? We had last one was equipment. The other one was we had to bring up a fight. That was because of me. No. Yeah. What was it? Yeah. I was with volunteer. Anyway, this is the final meeting before summer. But I know you guys are anxious to get to work, get out there and sell some moves. Hopefully today you'll get some ideas on how to be more accurate with your estimates, to get some ideas on what's expected of you as a professional mover, what things you are required to give to customers in the state of Virginia for local, intra, and interstate moving. After Roger goes over the principles of estimating this morning, he will we'll have a break, and we'll come back and we'll look at some different tools that are available to you to use to make your life and your customers' lives easier. So, with that being said, I'll turn this over to Roger. Thank you all for coming.
All right. Well, again, I'd like to thank every one of you for being here today. I was worried about the weather because typically on a movers meeting there needs to be snow or ice, something, like that. And we went from 70 degrees now to 30, so probably about right for a movers meeting. Before we get started, traditionally we like to just introduce everybody, and if you would take just a second to maybe a minute and a half, a little bit about you and who you work with, and maybe some experiences you have, and we'll just go around the ring. Thank you.
I'm Mason Shelby. I'm with Victory Packaging. About 80–90% of my customers are moving and storage companies in Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, a couple of Pennsylvania. John Stroop, Victory Packaging, kind of the same thing as Mason. About 70% of my customers move in storage in Maryland, Virginia, Delaware. Live in Annapolis, Maryland, but all on other customers down here in Richmond and Tidewater area. Have 2 7-year-old twins, and I'm not their grandfather, I'm their father. Anyway, so I still got a long ways to work in my career, so I hope to see all of it in the future. They're all doing the same thing I am, just for different companies. So it's good to see you there.
My name is Carly Rose. I'm for County Texas and Virginia. I am and I'm Lynn Valentine. I founded County Texas Moving, and we're still the only auction house in Virginia without an auctioneer. We have everything in a building that we sell for our senior client, and we have a consignment shop. Turned out to be a big part of our business.
My name is Lisa Hassman. I'm a security storage and van out of Norfolk, Virginia. I'm new to the business, but I was in the LTL transportation business for 25+ years. And I'm looking forward to that. Household goods, other things. I'm Joyce Orton with Security Storage and Van, and as I said, I'm trying to retire. It doesn't quite stick. I've been in security for 12 years. I've been in the industry for 30 years. And so I'm taking opportunities.
My name is Chris Shiley. I'm with Security Storage and Van in Norfolk as well. I'm relatively new as within today's a month. So I'm here to learn as much as I can, and maybe a lot of time. So.
We look forward to people like you to ask questions. So,
okay.
The old timers do it a certain way. We've been doing it a certain way for 500 years. And somebody who's on the phone say, well, how do you do it that way? If we can't explain it, then we maybe look at it. We're depending on you.
All right.
I'm also with Great Walker Running Storage Commission for National Airlines. They're located in Fredericksburg. And I do commercial moves, office moves, also goods moves. Anytime. I always say anywhere, anytime. Anyway, And it's interesting that we started out with everything on paper and now everything digital. And it took ages for this industry to finally come along with some good technology. And but some of you I know aren't using that, so I think we'll address that.
My name is Doug Crumwell with the Chief of Transfer in Yorktown, Virginia. Operations manager, truck driver, surveyor, conveyor. Wear a lot of different hats. Been with me 20 plus years, and we have started using the iPad with the quick news program, and it is still doing it the old fashioned way. I would definitely say step up to it. It cuts down your man time and click right on through the surveys.
Sorry, Jeff Moore, Super Transfer.
Over an agent for a week mainlines also.
Dave Rapson, I'm with Victory Packaging. I've been with them up to 20 years. My first 13 years I spent with Beacons Moving and Storage, company store. And I was a salesman, the manager, office moving, about everything they did, I did. I have a few things that maybe I will help you.
I'm Liz Fish. I work for Enterprise Indies Corporation, a technology company.
I'm Richard Corona. I'm her driver.
And I'm Joe Estes with the Technology Assurance Group. We do audio-visual IT work and items like that. Wes is one of our personal customers, so that's what we do.
And I'm Chuck Wright, relatively new with Technology Assurance Group, out here for the first time as well. So.
Who's that? Get that down there.
I'm Ernie Thomas. I'm with Victory Packaging. I'm here to help make sandwiches, give out these things, Been with Victory for about 10 years. I work out of Chesapeake. Mason, John, Dave, I had the pleasure of working with them for 10 years. So about 70% of my business is moving in storage as well, 30% seafood boxes. And always enjoy these meetings because it seems like every time I come here, I learn something every time. And I've been through this estimator meeting once. I think we did this last year and found it very informative, even though it's your bailiwick. I found it very informative and looking forward to this year. So thanks again, Roger.
Bailiwick.
Bailiwick, that's a big one.
Great American.
Man's gonna get a raise.
My name is Raven. I'm with the other moving company out of Gloucester, Page, Virginia. We are an agent for Stevens Line, so we've been doing quite a bit of every kind of move, predominantly military. So
I have to tell you, when I came to Executive Director, my first phone call was Jennifer. And she came last year, and I said, no, either she learned a lot or she's mad at me or what. And so when you come in her behalf, I'll put that there.
I'm David Dunstan with VMWA Meeting Services. I'm the compliance manager, and I really appreciate Mr. Moody sending the invitations for these events. It's really interesting to me to learn a little bit more about the industry and that we regulate. So appreciate the opportunity.
Michael Cervello of Weha Movers.
Arlington, Virginia, it's a newer company, the owner, and it's a small company, but we're growing.
Yeah, my name is Peter Putin. I work for Brown International, an international moving company in Ashburn. Yeah, I'm new in the business, and I'm here at the workshop today.
We're going to expect questions.
Yes.
My name is Anna Wilson from International. I'm in the business and I started more German and I decided to join you.
Susan Conner with Packaging Companies. I've been in the industry since '97. I am the new CRD coordinator for the company. I recently just moved out here from California, but I'm originally from New Jersey. I worked for Atlas Van Lines there for 1997. So I'm here to learn the Virginia tariff.
I'm Kathy Smith. I'm also from Packaging Van Lines and run the building department. I handle all the invoicing and credit card transactions.
What version?
Abby Flynn, I'm with Paxton Mailing. I'm the salesperson. I do everything from sales to OA, PA, everything. Commercial, it's on the back, so, and I'm just here to learn more about that.
What do you mean by that?
I want to know all I can.
I'm Mark Missel, new to the industry, 3 years in. I'm the director of business development for our guys around Palm Rivers and Charlotte.
I'm Roy Lambertson with More Than Moving. I know a lot of you fellows are going to claim that you work for your wife, but I actually do work for my wife. She started our company 15 years ago and is now some president here in Richmond.
I'm Linda O'Neill with More Than Moving, and I joined the company 6 weeks ago, so I got something to for you. I hope so, and I'm the CEO of the company, and I'm very excited. We also, besides being the senior manager, we also are one-stop solution for folks who are trying to dispose of their goods, so we also have statements and have options. We have very large.
I'm Leighton Abbott. I'm with More Than Moving. So I'm showing myself a movie and here in the studio.
I'm RW. I'm with Dirt Moving Storage out of Midlothian. I've been with for 2 years.
I'm Paul Bro, Student Services Meeting. I'm a child. Started with them as a mover about 29 years ago. And I run the company now. We do local, interstate,
Before we move on, I'd like to say something about Paul. We're talking about running in this year for governor, you know, the way he's dressed. So we'll have a convention and. Yeah.
My name is Wes Stewart. I'm with Stewart Living and Storage. We have 4 locations in 3 states. We've been serving park and van lines for 15 years, and we're in the process of.
Ma'am, you introduce yourself, please.
I'm April Christensen, with 2 Men in the Truck. And I'm Denise Hu with 2 Men in the Truck. Sorry we're late.
We need 2 women in the truck.
Candy's my corrector. She'll call me up on my pinboard and say, I'm making a mistake. Okay, I'll fix it.
We're just right down the road.
All right, well, I think most everybody's here. So what we'll do is get started. Today's theme is accuracy, accountability, and actual. I'm sending out several commercials and we discuss that. We'll move on, but before we get started, since Mr. Duncan, I just want to remind everybody that we cannot talk about market rates. We focus on what the union code and compliance, no trade secrets, and sort of disclaimer. I think we have to, do it all meetings. So,
I can leave for a little bit if you want.
No. And the goals for today's meeting, which is really, some of these are slides from the last year because they kind of fit. And is learn quickly how to estimate the weight of the household shipment, gain confidence in estimating in yourself. So especially the rookies, this hopefully will be a big help to you today. Get started. And control the pre-move data. To me, and you'll see this permeate itself throughout the slides, the estimators are key in that because no one really can ever do their jobs the best they can do it unless the estimator provides the data. So you see this over and over. And the idea is to make the company more money and improve the reputation by having more accurate estimates and increase sales. Now, the federal folks, I didn't put the chart up, but I had up last year in talking to Mr. Dunson. The biggest complaint that the consumers have is the estimate price. So this is a huge area, not only for us to try to increase, but also for the regulatory people trying to make sure that all the consumers are happy. So hopefully, as we get through this, at least what we do will increase that side of the complaint side. And then, of course, what I was going to do is go through the principles a little bit, and then the little bit of time that I have left is we look at 2014 template. I changed it, as I was telling you, but I probably got over 100 hours in it, and it's kind of like painting, when do you start? And So, what I like about that, and I've had a few comments about the comprehensive estimate, so as we get into that, we'll, get y'all's opinion on that and go from there. So, this is a thing that we had, last year that I want to try to continue on, and 10 minutes to be within 10%. In other words, if you go into the house to do the estimate, and I compare this to a football team. Now, a football team will be on the field for an hour. You may be in the restaurant 30, 45 minutes. But the actual playing time that a football team plays football is what, 10 and a half, 11, 12 minutes. Think about that. So it's the same scenario with an estimate. If you're in there, you're talking about the weather, you're talking about the antiques, the picture on the wall. But in true estimating time, I'd say you're only spending 10 minutes. And then you have to be within 10%. So that's a huge task. So, and again, it's communication by numbers. You have to estimate shipping weight. And these are the categories. I like for you to kind of keep those in mind, because this is what I try to do with my train of thought. Because in essence, you have to sort of define the shipment, because no one else did. Like in one of the emails that I sent out. And in the freight business, the LTL, the shipments are defined. You know what you're picking up, the weight, piece count, and all that. In our industry, no one has a clue. Not even up until the day of load. So it's always a moving part. So if you need to categorize, I think, and sectionalize the shipment so that you can create basically an audit trail. But you got the amount of shipping weights, the amount of cartons to be packed, and then the amount of cartons and plastic bins that are already packed. And then again, that's a huge difference between cartons to be packed and already packed. Because already packed, you can count them 1, 2, 3, 4. To be packed, you just got to project. And the estimated items, hours, number of days to complete, or hours, and that's getting to be real complicated there. As an estimator, you've got to know. And I have an input screen on the template to kind of help you along with that. But not only do you have to know what the shipping weight is and the amount of boxes and dollars, you got to know the DOT laws so that you don't tell them that they'll do something illegal in terms of the AR rules and FRR and all that complicated stuff. So you have to be aware of that too. Number of bands, and then basically the measurement is key. It's everything in account. So the first step on being active is to have the collection, data collection tool, the cube sheet, and the floor plan estimating form, digital software programs. Basically, you need to be able to record and summarize what you survey in a form that is readable and understandable by the whole team. Again, this is sort of the baseline of everything I'm trying to communicate today. Welcome. Come on in. I hope we got some chairs. I got this more. Yeah, there's 3 up here. Right. If you're not Baptist, you're going up here. And you're defining the shipment, and the team will depend on your information for superior customer service. Now, what I like to do is as we go from slide to slide, any comments, any questions you have, because I can go through these and that's fine. But I like to kind of get feedback from you as to what if you have an opinion about it, or if there's a problem, or what maybe you do that would help in that area. I guess when we get to the template, we'll get But again, what I like for you to remember is that you have to summarize the data, and that's over and over and over again, because the cube sheet, the floor plan estimating form, which Bob he used it for a long time. That thing's what, 20 years old or longer?
Over than that.
Yeah, been around. I'm 32. But I did a seminar. We used to be an agent for North American, and when I came up with that form, actually, I'll give you a little story. I was on some kind of council there, Home Touch, which is a sort of precursor to all these other digital firms. They had funded for about $250,000, $300,000, and they couldn't get it to work. Nobody used it. And the cube sheet was about all we had then. And so I just don't like cubes, so I use weights, so I designed this thing here. And I did some seminars, and I think that's where, Bob got a copy of it, and then, I copy around the seminars with it. And I was in Nashville, and I told the guys, I told people there, I said, how old the cube sheet is. I said, it's, I'm second generation mover, and I've been, in it since the 60s. And I said, it's been the same form. And this old guy stood up and said, well, I've been using the form since 1952. So, the cube sheet itself in various forms has been around. And so I changed it to the weight basis, and then now we have the digital software. So my point is that you have to have a data collection tool. Because basically your universe is defined by rooms. The cube sheet, the problem I have with the cube sheet is that it kind of bundles information. Paul will talk about that a little later. And you understand it, but when you hand the baton off to your team, they need to be able to follow. So what I would suggest is you really define it with a room. Collect the data on a room-to-room basis, and what you're doing there is you're creating an audit trail. And to get back to my story, we were like 50% on the way North America measured the accuracy of the estimates. And we come up with this new form. And so I would go out and do the estimates. And then I'll show you a little later on, but we would call 3 days before the move and confirm the shipment, room by room. And our accuracy, the way North American measures, went up to 96%. So it's huge. And so we'll talk about that a little later. I will forget that the council meeting there that we had, I brought some stuff in and showed it to them that it had been done. And about 3 of them fell off the chair because, basically it could be done. And the old boy that was working on home charts, I don't know if you are familiar with that, but it's kind of the software here. I thought he was going to kiss me because they were ready to shut the program down, and they went back in and fired it back up because you can be accurate, but you have to do certain things. It's not a one-shot deal. So, but what I like for you to do is you take a negative, make it a positive. So when you go and no-go, I see that more and more in the Direction magazine and Handline Communication, where you're doing the full accountability of go and no-go. Now, does everybody do that?
I think people are doing it more now.
Okay.
Go and no go, because everybody knows, this isn't going, this isn't going, this isn't going. And then on move day, it's going. So in order to cover ourselves, because everything is audited now, everything is very much measured, we have to list no-goes to be accurate. Because then there is a record of those items actually being.
So what you need to do is take a negative and make it a positive. And that's why I think the comprehensive estimate will go a long ways in doing that. We'll talk about that a little later. But the Dale Carnegie courses that I've always taken, it's sort of a principle in life, and that is take a negative and make it a positive. The negative is that you're telling them it's not going. You can't really push that too much in the beginning because they'll get mad at you and look for somebody else that doesn't tell them it's not going. But you do need to account for it so that you do create an audit trail. So later on, you can go back and make the adjustments. But again, you classify by furniture, cartons to be packed, cartons and plastic bins already packed. And the reason I keep going over this again and again is because you have a tendency, especially on the cube sheet or however you're doing it now, is to say cartons, PO cartons, CP cartons, and you really need to define it better than that. It needs to be cartons to be packed and cartons already packed. And cartons to be packed can be by owner or the mover. And then the cartons already packed, especially plastic bins. I don't know anymore. There's 15, 20, 30 shipments, 30 in a shipment. And they're already packed in most cases. So, but you do need to mark those down as separate units because, again, it creates an audit. Metals, plastic, appliances, articles. Now, the advantage of the digital software is that you know the weight before you leave the room, which is huge. I know that I was with a mover about a month ago, and we went to his house, and we used my thing and my estimator, and we used his digital software. And he was wanting to do it as a whole. I said, no, let's do it room by room. So we did it room by room, and we'd all estimate one room. And I would recommend that you do that. The rookies, estimate your house, and just empower it. And we would have a discussion. The first two rooms, it was long discussions on, why this, why that, why this, why that. And then as we went throughout the house, we all began to get a little closer on what we thought the way was. So that's how I would, again, that's how you should teach for you guys. And I would highly recommend that you think on a room-to-room basis, because that's our universe. As an estimator, that's your universe. Because what you're trying to do is create a communication link to the customer and the client and so forth. Now, years ago, we handled a corporate move. We had moved 1,800 families in a 30-month period. And we interviewed them all on the phone behind I'd take 4 home, and one day we booked 180 moves. So it's just land built a ton. But I could interview them, and I mean, we never did really begin service. We all did it on the phone. And this was 20 years ago, I guess. And we were just as accurate as we could be at any time, anybody. I guarantee I can talk to you in 10 minutes, no more about your shipment than anybody else that goes in there and looks at it. Because you learn to ask the question, and you can anticipate. In fact, I don't know, because you're writing things down, and they love to hear you, tapping on the keys. So it works well. But you would know the weights, and pretty much all the other ones. Okay. But basically, all houses in America are the same. I would say 90% of all houses in America, need tables, chairs, cabinets, and it's all the same. I mean, 90% table, chairs, and cabinets are in the boxes. Well, very often, yeah, they're there, but they're not part of the norm. Ping pong tables, yeah. All right, these are the frequent comments that I still get. I don't know how to estimate weight. I only know how to project estimated costs by using hourly rates. In fact, this was such a high number the last time. That's the reason I changed the template. Try to have you convert it, and we'll look at that later. And, I need you guys to understand the crowd. I think I put that up there. And how do I figure mileage? We have a 5-digit zip code that you just put in the zip code and tell you. And in addition to that, I've had a couple movers that have their own program that they calculate miles, and so consequently we changed the tariff, this mover and Mr. Johnson, to allow a 10% difference if there's a dispute. And if our mileage says 100 and theirs is 90 or 110, that's okay. If theirs is 80 or 120, then ours will take over. And there's a zone of reason there. So we've adjusted that to try to correct all these things that are out there. Now, again, we're looking at the two types. If you have the digital software, I don't know if that's a computer or not, but I always thought it was kind of good. What about you guys? Is that a computer?
Looks like a tablet.
Yeah,
it looks like a tablet.
But anyway, the traditional forms of the cube sheet and the floor plan estimating form, that's the only two paper products that I know of that are out there. And then, of course, the digital software, I think it's TechMate, IGC, the estimator, the movers, suite. I went through and tried to pick up as many as I could on the internet. I'm not familiar with all of them. Does anybody use any of these in here? Okay, all right. Okay. All right.
There's a program called Quotes to Go.
Big one.
United uses.
Big one.
United uses a program called Quotes to Go.
Quotes to Go. Okay. Is that like a proprietary thing for Atlas? Or?
It's for United actually. I worked for them for years now.
Okay.
It's similar. You can do your survey, your
Mm-hmm. Well, back when I was doing the surveys with the corporate, I had to sort of like everything was printed in 2 seconds. By the time I got done with the interview, all that was done. And in addition to that, it didn't work too well. But I tried. I had it because I did have it by room. I pre-printed the inventory for the guy. And all they had to do is put a number on it and all that, but it didn't work well. But I think with the electronic, you know, what's going on now in West, I think we'll talk about that a little later, that, yeah, and that's the next groundbreaking, area, is that the electronic instrument of the shipment is a little easier to do anymore. So, again, the panel will come in a little later.
I think one of the things that's notable for the digital software is once you're completed in the house, you can go out to your car, you can email it to your carrier, you can email it back to your company, you can rate it right there in the house. There's a lot of work being done. It saved a lot of steps, where in the past it took a lot more time to be able to provide that pricing. So in the bigger picture, you have to be more efficient to be profitable these days. And the efficiency that the digital software allows is unprecedented ever in my industry.
Yeah, what's the percentage now? I mean, you talk about you could do the estimates just as accurately over the phone because you know what you're doing as someone in person. But what is that percentage in modern day as far as how many estimates are actually done over the phone and the work is booked? And then do you still use the software in your office if you're giving the information over the phone, or are you putting it into?
Well, the first part of the question I can answer. The second part, maybe best whoever does it, you know, the iPad thing. But the question I don't know.
Today, what is the percentage
Oh, yeah.
of estimates that are done over the phone?
Right.
Well,
Well, here's the thing with Amazon, and I was told that for years ago, is, you know, the road mover, you know, and all that, all the balloons, people don't hear, you know, a van mover, they hear all movers are bad. And that really bothers me quite a bit. And that's a PR program that, you know, that's probably going to count. But, and then, you know, now with the law, they put 50 miles, you have to go look at it and all that. And I understand from their point of view, they're trying to make it local and sort of keep the internet presence. But now you'll see that, and even in the Direction magazine, I brought that, you know, they talk about video estimating, you know, all kind of digital stuff, and you don't have to go with residents. I figured sooner or later I'd have to catch up, but, you know, in the program that I had then, I wish I could have, was a computer man, I'd probably be in the Bahamas, and I'd get Dave Rack to come down and visit. But I mean, when I did it, I could interview in 5 minutes in all the day, you know, on the phone. So you don't need to go to that. In the Gen X, and when we talk to the market, the Gen X and the Gen Y, they don't want you there. You know, the baby boomers, you know, and the greatest generation and all that, you know, they're used to that. The Gen X and Gen Y, they don't want you there. You know. So that's, now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, John, I don't think you can actually put a percentage. I think that's going to be unique to the organization. As far as military, you're allowed to do a phone survey under 4,000 pounds or anything over 50 miles. Now, whether you choose to do that or not is going to depend on how comfortable you are with the person that's actually conducting the survey on the phone. Roger has a lot of experience, and he can get the information that he needs to be accurate in 5 minutes. I would say 90% of the rest of it probably can't do that. But there is those people in the organization that can do that. Because of the road movers and all the bad publicity that movers have had over the years, AMSA, it's really important that you do an in-home survey. You want to be there because at destination, you can only bill up to 110%. And then anything over that, if it's non-binding, you have to wait 30 days to get paid either. So you want to be active, you want to be in the house. But that being said, what Roger said is exactly true. The kids nowadays, they don't want to do that. So with that being said, I think the challenge for all of us is to get very active, to get the knowledge that Roger has, to get as much knowledge as you can on how to be active in the estimate, so that if you do it over the phone, you are active, and that pricing is going to be correct. And you know, the whole idea here, guys, is to raise us all up to a higher level. So, okay.
A lot of that's the patience of the potential customer and answering all your questions.
Yes,
they love to see.
A lot of it. You're exactly right, John.
They love.
You know, I'm on the phone trying to book a hotel room. Well, we have breakfast. What you ready? No, I mean, so I'm sure a lot of.
Well, what I always do is start in the living room, because that's the easiest house. And once I ask them, initially they don't want to do it. I can't. I've done them at drive-throughs. I've done them, you know, you name it. And I said, well, let's start in the living room. So I said, sofa, do all that. Oh, okay, and let's go to the dining room, because see, those are the form rooms, not much there. Then they begin to understand, and then they sing like birds. I'm serious. I'm telling you. Yeah, yeah.
How do you have variable package?
Well, I have the quick count, develop that, and I'll show you a little later. But if you talk it on the phone or?
Communication with customer, like you have a whole lot of traffic.
Yeah, whereas he goes to the picture, and Brian, something back in Brian, he asked him how many cabinets and all that, and I'm not smart enough to do that. I just say, well, then you think it's a lot low, and go from there. And
Once you figure out what people have, we start with the dining room. And I think the dining room is usually the easiest room to determine how much stuff people have, because if they have a table and 2 chairs, it's kind of what sets the tone for the rest of their house. If they have a table, 8 chairs, a buffet, 2 corner cabinets, that usually kind of leads you into how much stuff someone has. And after a while, we probably do, I would bet we do 65% of our local moves over time. We make a rule to go look at a house. If it's a 4-bedroom house, we go look at it. If there's packing other than specifically, I have 3 large pictures in a glass top I need to go pack. If it's gray, we go look at it. But generally, on a local move that's done by the hour, once you start to figure out kind of how much stuff they have, the boxes kind of follow suit, unless they have, and I have a big storage room, or something like that.
I was gonna say that I've actually
Yeah,
done
yeah,
a
yeah.
FaceTime. I've actually done a FaceTime move and sold it.
I was gonna say that, we don't have any 5-minute conversations. I mean, it's just too complicated. However, after years and years, if you have a 2-bedroom townhouse, that's a 15-man-hour job right there. Okay, so we're talking mostly local here. And I have a little rule that says on small jobs, you basically make small mistakes, but on big jobs, you make big mistakes. And so the size of the job is the thing that we try to determine right up front, and then at that particular time, we decide whether it's doable on the phone or we need to go take a look at it. And that's just kind of the general guidelines. The other thing too, that, and this for the old timers, I'm not telling you something you haven't already heard, but remember that Q is what fills up the truck, and weight is a byproduct of that Q. My go-to is, I think everybody knows that we generally use about 7 pounds per cube, and we find that it's a little lighter than that. So if you're using 7 pounds kind of across the board, generally you're going to be a little heavier estimated by the weight. And let me say something else too. I could talk about this for like 3 hours, so I'll try to limit what I say. But, as far as estimating, first off, when you go out to survey a job, try to figure out. I hate if you call me out 2 days before you're supposed to move, nobody's gonna be happy on that move. I'm not happy. You're not going to be happy. They're not going to get that kind of service. If they call you out a month ahead of time, a lot of times they don't know the answers to the questions that you need to get to that accuracy level that you're hunting for. So that time frame is important to understand in your formulation of your estimate. And so if you're way out, and I love this. You go in and you ask the customer how many boxes they think they'll have, and so this is honest to God truth. I've been through a survey in somebody's home, and they have their boxes, if you want to call them PBOs, already done. And you say, "Well, how many boxes do you have now?" And they're like, about 20, and then standing in that room, I got one to do revised. I mean, you got 18 boxes in this room, and then like, really? So don't leave it up to the customer. Count them yourself, and then do your estimate from there.
Like today, yeah, exactly right. That's what we're heading for. All right. This is the floor plan thing. I thought I'd just take 2 seconds because everybody looks at it and says, what you think? What is that? But and Bob will explain a little later. But see, I broke down to section 1, chairs, 2 cabinets, 3 tables. So I got it categorized here. And then you write the room and you just come down. And you go and you go here and you count for it. So all the appliances and so forth. This I did back in 95, I guess it was. And we still use it today, and I think he's gone on to digital. But the reason is this is paper, so not everybody can afford a real expensive system. So if this will help you, I guarantee you it will help you. He'll tell you, and you look at it and you say, again, what you were thinking. But it will work. Believe me, I guarantee you. And what it does, it breaks it down. And how I came up with those sections is basically went to the Sears catalog. I think how long ago it was. And I looked, and even the furniture industry is case. They don't call it customer's chest. And I think that's one of the problems that I have with some of the new software and with HomeTouch is that you go to a chest and you got a list 2 miles long. And you have to decide is it a 2-door, 3-door. It's to me it'd be a cabinet, and you just estimate the weight, and the room will tell you if it's a dresser or a chest. There's 3 things that communicate there as opposed to listening and all that. But nevertheless, I just wanted to take 2 minutes to show it to you. And if you have an answer for paper, please look at that because that will help. All right, and again, it's not knowing about how to estimate weight. This is left open last year. And you talked about Q. I started to have a Q check chart up here because, and what I did on the estimator is that I had it broken down to 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5. Because 7 pounds anymore is just too high, too heavy. 6.5 is a little more realistic. So you have less weight and more fuel in today's shipment. So I know on international, but you get a 5 pound, isn't that good for international? A 5 pound load factor? Yeah, 5.5 is definitely good. So, but they don't have the mix. All the time lightweight items. The panels, the various methods, the shipment services, and the tools. Basically, and this is what I think Paul will lead up on. As you're in home, concentrating in on a room-to-room basis. Although what I like to do is make my notes, and then the kitchen table is such a huge place to sell. You're an estimator on one hand and salesperson on the other, so you have to balance it. And so as you go through, I think you're the estimator, you're the technician. And then, but when you get to the kitchen table, when you get back to the kitchen table, then I think the salesperson who needs to take over. And what I love to do, and I have a little sheet, is talk to them about, stemware or anything, that you've seen that you can make notes. And the idea, and as I mentioned later, is that I tell them, I said, I need to know, what you're sensitive, what is high risk, what is that you're looking for. And the reason is, I'm going to write it down. I had an older school teacher told me sometimes, he says, ears are for hearing, but writing is to remember. So I wrote that down. But this was around the kitchen table. So this gets into the sales part. But I would highly recommend that whatever you do as you do the service, you got to be active, count the boxes and do the hard part. But when you get back to the kitchen table, you become the salesperson, and that's why I'm saying that let the tool keep you daily, and then you just start selling. That's what it's all about. Yeah. And, so again, you have 10 minutes to be 10%. Again, collective and sensitive data, and we talked about all that. To me, I don't know how these dispatchers would work without structure. Otherwise, the crew won't be into the line. So I'm assuming that everyone has something along those lines. Otherwise, it's just, I would meet customers expectations. Okay. And this is where I say, my crews, when they walk in the door, they'll have a general knowledge of your system. And so they go a long way in building confidence. Now, the difficult rooms to estimate. Would y'all agree with that? The kitchen. I thought
This will be online as well, right? So for notes, I can reference this online, right?
Yeah, and then I'll put a PDF form on the website.
Great.
In fact, there's a whole lot more here that I call them flashcards. And we'll look at them because I like to get to the template now and kind of go over that. But if you need to study it, I do. I'll go back and look at it. And but the difficult areas, I know a couple weeks ago when we were doing this, we hung up in the kitchen. That was our first room, which was a mistake, but nevertheless we got there. And it's a whole other world in those cabinets. Because you can't see it. So, does anybody have any suggestions? Yes, sir.
Well, when we go out and do surveys, we ask people if we know about the campus. We do, like you said, when you get to a two-bedroom townhouse, we're just going to take it as no word. But when we go out to do physical surveys, we ask other cabinets, look at it, do the box check. Especially even with PBOs, when they're packing themselves and you're doing the survey, I just tell them that I say, hey, I'm going to estimate the number of boxes, how I would pack them, that's only I'm going to do it. Now, how you pack it is going to be different, but the cube still should come out the same.
All right, the garage, anybody have any suggestions in the garage? Always metals and things that are part of it.
Always look at the ceiling to see if there's a
Ceiling. Now, what I did last year, and I got hard credit, is I said, well, maybe what you need to do is look at all the clutter and say, okay, pretend you're in a yard sale, say, if I was to buy this at $1 a pound, how much would I pay? That didn't go over yet. I still think it applies because, you say, well, that's probably 60 pounds there, so $60. I mean, trying to relate it to something. Because
Roger, it's like you always say, we move it used, but we deliver it new.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a lady in Roanoke, pretty sophisticated lady, and we found out did an oral history of the association. And this guy that we were doing the interview with was one family. And in fact, he died a year later. And so we would ask the same questions. We went around the state, and sometimes his wife had come over and help him because he was and so we got done. Now this guy's 60 million a year company or more. I mean, it's I don't think she ever been on a pack line. I just don't see her on a pack line. And so we're nice, but he's downsized, so it's nice dining room set. And so we got down with the interview, we were talking, and she said, I never did like the movie. Yes, ma'am. He said, you love it. You can live with you. That's profound. And that's true. It's some degree. And in fact, I told the federal people that when I was up there last fall, they just kind of looked, but she said, you see, because half my house is clean, stuff that we pay for, I just think it'll be in their home. I said, you see that tape on Sherry? No. That's clean. I mean, it's a real expensive. So, I always like to tell that story because, she had no clue. She I'm sure she never even got close to the moving van. Her house was clean. The attic, how do you do the attic?
You go up in there.
You just look and you just project. Okay. All right. Now, let me ask you the age-old question. Can you estimate packing without being a packer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Or let me say that. Okay. All right, and then the huge closet. I know that the wardrobe, you feel high and deep. I don't know, you like 18 inches and you kind of do it that way? Yeah.
Actually, that's a good, I like where you're going with that. And really, the question comes down to, as an estimator, what you need to do is pick a unit Okay, so if you think in book boxes, or you think in 3 O's, just pick one. Okay, don't pick book boxes and 3s and 4, 5. Don't do that. Just pick one. And then when you go into an attic or a garage, you just go in there and you try to count how many 3s it's going to take to cube that room out, whatever room that is. Okay, because once you do that and you send your packers out there, they're going to select the cartons that they feel are appropriate for the things that they're going to put into that carton. So, you know, if you pick a 3, there should be 2 3s and a 6. So, you know, you're still on your game there, and it allows you to focus, you know, on being accurate in one area. If you stray from that, that's when things get a little blurry and you lose your focus.
All right. And any other areas?
I think the hardest area to get an accurate estimate is the self-portion.
Right. Yeah, you just see the front. That's it.
And typically, a lot of times, what we do is we'll take, if it's full, it's pretty easy. We usually say, okay, well, it's 10 feet by 10 feet by 8 feet, cube it out, and go, you have a possible estimate weight of 5,700 pounds.
15.
Or yeah, like if you go to 10 by 20, we cube it out.
Yeah.
It can get pretty accurate.
Yeah. All right. Now, it's easy to count what you see. If you can see it, you can count it. Furniture already packed, carton, plastic, metal, plastic. The difficulty is what you can't see. And cartons need to be packed. And again, the estimator that had, the way I had it set up is what you were talking about. Is because I don't want to do the pack. But what I do, and I have a quick one, and I'll show you a little bit about that. But I put it under the customer package. Because what happens is, and if you go along, and we talk about the 3-day window, we'll get to that, is that, you know, if they haven't gotten, you know, completed packing, and if you have it down to a room, you say, well, do you need help in the kitchen? Yes, I need help in the kitchen. Okay, well, so you have already an audit trail. You have an account of what it is you think it would take to pack it. And because if you don't estimate the boxes, you miss the weight too. That's a paradox there, because if you go to full service packing, it's done by weight. Unless you project the carton number, you don't get the total weight, and you don't get the total dollars for the full service pack. So you have to complete the whole circuit in order to get the weight up so you can get the total hundred weight, you know, accurate.
You try to talk the customer out of doing their own packing, or you let it go.
Well,
if
It depends on what kind of customer you have.
Again, and I'll show you on the template here, is you can't, at the time of the estimate, you don't. I didn't use me, because I don't want to offend them. In other words, I take what they said. But I have options on the template. So that you can say, okay, here's a full service package, here's breakable. So I'm trying to up the sales number. You know, instead of having one sheet, one shot, you present it. And so now you say, okay, yeah, it's you know, $350 for us coming in package mirrors and bed and all that. And I understand that. And then over here, if you want us to do a full service package, you're probably looking at $1,200. And they said, well, that's not that much money. You know, or break it. You know, and I have options set up. And that's the part of stepping it up, and so that you can generate more revenue.
It seemed like the liability with the claims would be something you would try to sell if you were doing the packing, right? Because you're not as liable if they're packing their own stuff for what's inside, because you don't know how well they pack it, right?
All right, and so the panel, like I said, we have an all-star panel. They'll give us some more tips and go from there. And then the question and answer period after that, because everyone has a different technique. So, I like everyone kind of, you know, that and see. All right.
Back to what John was saying, on a local roof, it's really hard to sell valuation, because the valuation cost can be as much as the roof.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The transportation cost is going to be a lot less than the packing.
Oh, yeah, on local roof, yeah. All right, and again, this is a leftover slide from last year, but yeah, and I keep coming back to it because, you know, repetitive. You learn a little bit, but take your time to break it. 90% of all homes are alike, just the volume is different, you know, the kitchen, living room, good about it. And all this, the hyperlink here is to the military.
Oh, is that right?
I have a
Thought we were
hyperlink.
giving it away.
And now the hyperlink here to the military, I don't know if I can, look it up, I'm probably not, but the military has a digital Excel thing too. And so they're somewhat of an expert of doing 400,000 signals a year, so they have a lot of history there. So again, you can go to the website. I have it on the website. Click on the Google truck there, you can see what they do. How military handles their weights and feet. Now we get into the accountability. This is, I don't know about you, but I thought this was a pretty good picture. I started to make this a little bit larger than what it was, and I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't. But I don't know about you, but I don't think I'd walk behind my dog. I just kidding. I'm just kidding. But anyway, accountability. This is where it all comes down to, is the estimate. And again, if we back to the room, go, no go, you know. And I put this in here, and I didn't realize we have an LTL person here. But we move personal property and not general freight. General freight has a tendency to be predefined. No one. I was at a meeting. We have a national meeting with the executive director, and we were in St. Louis several years ago, and the colonel that runs the surface transport, yeah, he runs it all. And I was talking to the IM Terry Head, and I told him, I said, I figured it's 250 million. He's on $2.5 billion.
The DOD, I just read it in Portal Magazine the other day, is 25% of the market in the world.
Yeah. So it's huge. And so they came and were talking to us. And my counterpart in California was upset because they had done something, and 3 of his members done something, you know, I never heard of that. And so we're in a room with about 20 people, and the colonel, and at that time was John Johnson, is that the guy's name?
He's no longer there,
Yeah.
neither is the colonel.
Yeah, oh, well, that's what the colonel said. So the guy in California, he jumped up, got in his face. That's my first meeting. I said, you know, I'm serious. And finally the colonel said, look, I'm not here for 2 years. He said, I'm gonna tell you something. I moved the material and all that. And he said, household moving is something else. Among other things that he said. And because, you know, basically, if mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And I asked him, I said, well, why in the world, you know, you've got 400,000 people, why don't you make a move in January, February, March? And they don't have that control over the family. You know, they can make the military members go, but they don't exercise that control over the family. And consequently, they wake schools up for everybody else. You know, but the colonel told her quick, he said, you know, household is just a whole other world. And like I say, they're there 2 years and gone. You know, so it's kind of embarrassing, but they finally settled down. But the reason I put it up there is that, you know, you imagine the material that they moved, millions of pounds of that. But he had a heartburn when it comes to household goods, because they just don't have the control, nor do we, like you do on LTL freight and all that. It's just a personal property. So that's who we are.
It's the people factor.
Right.
When you move an office move, if you have a scratch or a dent, nobody says anything. Nobody notices. If it's in their home, it's a problem.
Oh, really? Personal property. All right, now, the data that you have, the data that you collect, it goes a long ways in problem solving. Now, I have a DMV's logo there, and talking to Mr. Dunstan, he too, like the federal people, the biggest complaints that he has is, you know, unrest. So you have usable data. If the data says you made a mistake, then you fix it. I mean, it's just that simple. If the data says that the customer has add-ons, then you refine it. And I don't, do y'all ever use the word add-on? I didn't discover that until I was on board supervisor at Campbell County, and you know, and the contract came in with an add-on. It was like, you know, $500,000 for windows. And then I'm, you know, number one, I'm doing my job. 2, I'm saying, why is this so expensive? And you know, blah 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 blah. And contractors look at me like I'm crazy. And then all the other board members look at me like, shut up. So anyways, we got through that, and then they said, look, what the contractors do is they go out there and they bid on it, but they really make their money on the add-ons. I mean, that's just the culture. So add-ons is something here that the customer does, and when the complaints that I get, and most of them are from the internet world, and nothing will testify. They have not done anything that they said they weren't going to do. And what happens a lot is they'll go out and say, okay, we'll move you for $100. And say everybody knows $200. But then they say, if the shipment is not what it is, when we get there, this contract is void and we want to use full tariff rate. So then all of a sudden, this $100 becomes $500. And that's what they said they were going to do. We had a hostage shipment for the last year, last fall. Same thing. Item number 14 says if you don't pay, what the 14 said was if you didn't pay the bill, they had the right to sell the shipment within 10 days. I mean, there's about this much on the estimated cost, and about this much on what we're going to do, and I'm going to do. Why in the world anybody move it? But then what happens is when they get the tail and swing, they'll call us or DMV, and that's who, we saved today. I mean, we got it back. The hired lady I got it back, within close, and she was kind of bucking up on me. I said, man, look, I said, number 14 says he can do what he's just done. I said, you better take this deal and go. And they did, and life went on. But the add-ons are something that, and I'll show you.
Just real quick on the add-ons, Roger, that doesn't go over real big in our industry.
But that's what I'm saying. None of us are aware of that.
People
but in
don't
other
know what the cost is. People take an interstate. We now have to tell them if there is storage at destination or if there is a shuttle, and that pricing has to be on the estimate. So that we're disclosing everything.
And that's what I would call an add-on.
The challenge is not to have an add-on.
Right. And that's the reason for the comprehensive estimate, and that's the same principle. And that is, and even home touch, they have it. And I don't know, and Brian would testify to this. They wouldn't look at the estimated charge. They would look at the sheet that had all those charges. And say, well, we didn't choose any of this, and we'd have to take 30 minutes and explain, what you just explained. Well, those are add-ons.
The environment nowadays is not to have an add-on. It has to be accurate all the way through the delivery.
Well, and to some degree, I'm saying that's unreasonable. Because
we've been saying that for years, yet we have risen to that level.
Well, the federal government has said you shall, and that's why. But anyway, I think that's unreasonable because all the other industries have add-ons. The customer has a different. If you don't know about it, how can you estimate it? And if
Americans do a lot of things that are wrong.
Well,
Even the U.S. government.
Yeah. Now, we talked about affordable health care in January. Yeah. But see, this is a good debate because I think our industry can take a negative and make it positive. And that's the add-on. We call it add-on because that's what this industry is. And then I wasn't used to it. I mean, I grew up in the movie business. We never heard of add-on. But add-ons is a familiar term in other industries. The crew needs strong data, company needs strong data, the industry needs strong leaders, we're told that best. So, I don't know, you have any comment about the estimates, under estimates? What Brent they give you?
Well, I mean, just, we have an agent here in Central Virginia, and there's hardly a week that goes by that he doesn't copy me on an email when he's talking to somebody that advertises meeting services on Craigslist. So I'm really reluctant to come into a room full of licensed professionals and talk about regulation. But that is the number one complaint that we get at DMV, and as you and I talked before, they are mostly from unlicensed movers. And as you mentioned before about the hostage shipment, the first thing I ask when I complain is that they'll send me the bill of lading, and I'll read the terms, and I'll just scratch my head. Why in the world did you sign this? Yeah, just as an estimate, there is a section in the Code of Virginia that talks about overestimating, but it also states that the mover has to do this kind of on a habitual basis. And I haven't seen that in all my years that I've been doing this.
That's testimony to the association.
It is.
They're here. You bring champagne?
Champagne?
Okay. In fact, when I was up at that federal meeting, I said, Think about it. So you go to the meeting and after the meeting, it's always with the bourbon. So I asked him, I said, who bought the bourbon? They got to look, and there was DOT meeting, I think that's what it said. All right, now here's the thing right here. This is what I like to spend a few minutes on, because I know this works. I have diverticulitis, and it flares up every now and then. I was laying on the bed there, and the doctor came up to me, and he said, boy, and I've had it for 100 years. He said, boy, he said, I'm going to tell you what to do, and you're going to do it because you got to live. I mean, seriously, I was hurting. He said, 30 days from now, when you're not hurting, I want you to still be. I said, I mean, that's just a human nature. You know, it's kind of like that business. But I'm telling you, if the customer coordinator, which one of y'all are customer coordinators? Somebody? Sarah, you? All right. I have to be new.
I missed it.
Well, the reason I blow up like this is that, you know, when you're dealing with the van, they'll have a customer coordinator. And what happens is, if the customer coordinator is not careful, they set a wedge between you and the crew already, before the crew even gets there. And my point is that if you give the coordinator the information, Susan in my office, what she would do is, and I go back to the North American Council Code, and I use this old man estimating, and I come up with little points. You would go room by room and talk to them, say, okay, is this going, or is this not going? You know, is it going or not? And in a professional way, 2 or 3 days before moving. And then she would revise it on a room-to-room basis, and at the end of the conversation, she would revise the total weight up or down or leave. But she had a dialogue. She had a way to talk. So as a customer coordinator, if you don't have this information, you really can't talk about the shipment, but only in general terms. And I think what happens is you wind up with unintended consequences. And so if you're not careful, the customer's already mad at the driver before he even gets there, because he's 5 minutes. You know, that's silly. And so what I'm suggesting that you do, I did do, and we don't do it anymore, and we should do. But if you're, you know, on the go and doing your whole better best, then I would highly recommend that you set this thing up so that either you as the estimator, the coordinator, when they call the customer, you know, go over certain things, but do the shipment profile on a room-to-room basis and confirm it. And they'll love you, because at that point you'll know whether what they'll do. And the customer will not lie to you. All you have to do is ask the right question. You got to ask the right question. I come up with what I call a walkthrough. Years ago, we had General Electric down there and a bunch of engineers. So I came up with a walkthrough form so that the crew at the end of the move would say, okay, it's like a real estate walkthrough. You know, anything damaged, let's go from room to room, and anything damaged, put it on the sheet. You know, and then that would take pictures. So I would say anything damaged. Well, I'd get rid of it. I don't know. And the guys just shake their head. And finally I said, okay, is there any new damage? And then that corrects the fine. So it's just little things like that. But the customer will interpret, yeah, it's damaged. And I'm dealing with engineers. Have you ever had anybody check a shipment out going out the door?
Yes.
I had that happen one time. And he took me literally. And he did. We had to check it, go out the door. Which that's, you know, come in with the destination. But anyway, if you do something like that, it's the, you know, you have to know what words to use. But I'm as a coordinator, do you try to define the shipment, or do you try to just ensure they're set together?
Well, typically, most of the time, I'm going to trying to figure out, is this still coming on this end of it, or is it now not the same number here? Some it may be still going, but now it's
So that's the thing. Yeah. Okay. So you do, you know, with the tax bill here, y'all define the shipment, or do you just set dates? So the coordinator.
I'm sorry.
She's only been 2
Okay.
days with our company, but now that she's here, we're going to go.
Okay.
Oh, no, yeah, I do,
Okay.
as a coordinator, I make multiple calls to customers,
Okay.
confirming that everything is still going, if there are any changes. I've been doing coordinating, I actually was jack of all trades, like coordinating for CODs, international accounts, claims I can handle too. So I know the entire industry,
But my point is that because you gotta define it, room by room. You can't say, okay, you have 14 chests going, and, you know,
yeah, I
10
do go
beds
over the
going.
survey with
Yeah, room by room, but that's how everybody thinks.
I've done that before, and the customer's like, I don't have this. Why is this on my survey? I'm like, okay, well, it could be, the surveyor probably is putting it as something else. So you can just think about what could possibly go in that. Or possibly what is in that room that could be like that.
Right. And see, I've had that over and over again. You're saying, well, now I've got 3 cabinets coming out of the living room. Well, I don't know. Okay, I got 1 at 50 pounds and 2 at 100 pounds. Oh, okay. Well, that's communicated. And then they know what they know the problem. I need to go on to the next.
Yeah.
So, all right, but please do this, because I'm telling you, this will go a long, long, long way. You know, if you're accurate 100% of the time, then you're not going to work. But it's not only you that's in the ballgame. You got the estimator and the customer doing their thing. And, you know, we're here to serve the customer, and they don't, that was someone mentioned earlier, they don't know what they're going to do until the end. You know, so you just got, the 3 days before the move, they should know. You know, and so you can find it. All right. What I like the most is you can generate, this is back to your point, more revenue using reasonable and honorable methods. You know, because the packing is a lot of, you know, on corporate moves, it's pretty simple. If you do it all, period. You know, but on COD moves, you know, if you can generate another $50,000 a year income, that's huge. You know, you do it $100 here, $200 there, and it adds up in years. So, and the details will grow confidence in yourself and grow in the customer. So, you know, when they, this is human nature. The customer knows that you know, then they have a tendency to be a little more reasonable. You know, if they get a sense that you don't really know, then they'll be about Jeff.
I wanted to point out a larger aspect. You're driving towards the knowing and confirming the move itself. But the bigger picture here, and we talked about this at our regional meeting in Wheaton, and that is that communication is the #1 place where our industry gets into trouble. And so the call by itself is the best part of the call. I mean, even if you didn't talk about the move at all, that would make more difference than anything else that you could possibly have done or do after that. So I wanted to point that out because people really, they're all over the place, but they want to be in contact with you, and they want to have some level of knowledge that they're important, and that importance comes through that conversation, and only through that conversation. We have just recently had a job where the guy said, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that," and they do nothing. And yet they didn't call and say, you know, "Oh, hey, by the way, we didn't get any of that done that we told you to." However, this is very important, and it's a tough pill to swallow. We didn't either. And so, you know, whose fault is it? Well, in the end, they weren't happy. We weren't happy. So, you know, that call is so important.
I agree. In fact, right here, as you mentioned, you know, the actual successful move starts with the estimator, and the successful move ends with the estimator. The customer trusts the person, not a company. In most cases here, most companies probably don't have a coordinator. You know, the estimator needs to call. I know with mine, I mean, people don't want to talk to me, they don't want to talk to their mom, they don't talk to mine. You know, and so that's kind of the way it is. And now if you have a coordinator, that, and again, I think if you go back and you can convince them that you are familiar with the shit, then that creates a thing. But, you know, the customer is happy with services when the price follows their expectations. So you have to follow the service needs of the customer during the move. Somebody has to do that. Again, the comprehensive estimate helps you do that. And then you add on things, you know, I mean, but you got to follow it. And I guess the thing that bothers me with customer service folks, and again, it goes back to the VMWA, what we're doing. The customer coordinator would call because they didn't have all the data, and they would create problems for we don't. You know, and there's a chemistry between the crew and the customer. And you gotta let that chemistry hold. You know, but if you get ahead of yourself too much, it can create a wedge. Right?
Roger, would you call the audience to see? I'd like to hear there are sales folks and estimators, what they feel the importance of a move coordinator is to them.
You know,
I know it's a little bit off subject, but we have an attorney here on the move coordination thing, but I really agree with what you have said about communication. And the industry has really been pushing move coordination. Military, they've been doing it in national accounts for years. I see a lot of it, VMWA is calling coordination for COD. As estimators and salespeople in this room, how do you feel? How important do you feel that a good move coordinator is? Are you your own move coordinator, or do you have someone in your office that does it? And if you have someone in your office that does it, or you do it yourself, how do you feel about that? What would you like to see?
We probably send 99% of our estimates out right. And we go out, collect the data, bring it back. My office manager, Karen, sends out the estimate with a nice letter to the customers directly from her. And that way, when the customer does call back with a question, she's already in the loop. And every call does not have to come to me. They feel like Karen's already part of what's going on. She's familiar with everything, and it saves us a tremendous amount of time on the phone. Plus, they're usually simple questions. They're not difficult questions. Can I leave my dresser drawers for all the stuff that's in your packet? That's what they haven't read the packet. They're calling to ask these nitpicky questions. And then when she calls to confirm the move, it's one more step with that. As long as you're detailed on your survey, all the information is there on your job, and she's reviewing when she calls to confirm. We are going to be hacking the 3 pictures and the 4 lamps, whatever it might be, and then that information goes to dispatch. The guys cover the 3 covers in the morning. They know about it, and it's very seamless. I'll also say, you know, one of the main reasons we do a confirmation call a week prior to the move is to protect against lost revenue, because everybody's gotten to the job and people have already moved, or they make up the story. Oh, I called a week ago to cancel that, which you know is the limit. But it protects against that as well. And in today's, with our schedule, a lot of our work comes in last minute. I can't afford to. I can't afford to have to fix it. You know, that would be my take on it.
But it gives them a warm and fuzzy feeling that we are going to show up with it.
Right.
Because where I live, there's kind of big phone all the time.
I think a great thing about doing coordinator, I mean, I formerly did all the estimating myself. And so now as we're growing, it's really important to have other people involved. But we've always done exactly what we've done, where from the very beginning, and I would hand, you know, in my case, paperwork to somebody like Kari in the office, and then she does the exact same thing, fills out the letter, and then there's the follow-up person. But they provide another, you know, Kari, we have actually 2 in the office. But she's a better link with the team that's gonna go out and do the move. They're monitoring the calendar, they're monitoring the equipment. And I think that that's really important, you know.
It's a team effort.
Yeah, to monitor that and to make sure, you know, we mix and match the guys out on the job, you know,
Right.
obviously, according to their talent.
And she's in the office all the time.
And she's there.
Right, so when a customer comes in to buy some boxes, oh my God, it's the woman I've been talking to on the phone.
Yeah, it actually gives a bigger dimension to the support system that we really do bring to the table. That they get to feel it right on, it's not just me. It's
Right.
what we do. I was gonna add to that, it helps, you know, because I can find out if they're not passed, that they haven't done anything that they said they were gonna do. How are you doing on the passing? Well, I'm not doing too great. I went to church, came home, I had to. It gives me a heads up, well, I might need to do that. And I'm in the office 99% of the time, and I've been there, I've been at packing lunch to a customer who's coming to pick up boxes. I'm like,
Right.
have you ever packed a box before? No. Let me give you a quick tip on what you're going to be doing here so that you are well, you know, so that they have some general knowledge, and then they felt comfortable calling out saying, I'm having a really hard time with this land here, you know, but they have a point of reference other than her, and their comfort level is greater.
And you're better at slowing it down.
Yeah.
You know, the estimators, at least we are on the clock. And talking to Miss Smith one more time about her basement problems down there, you can get challenged.
The only thing I would warn you is, this is my experience at times, if you're not a real good customer coordinator, you can blow up. You get unintended consequences.
You know, Roger, I think this comes back to the salesperson. If the salesperson is very specific with her new coordinator, then it's, as you said, it's a seamless situation. I work in both situations. And from my perspective, one of the things I really like about having a new coordinator is it frees the salesperson up to generate more revenue. There are companies that grab upon new coordinators. To me, that is, you know, I don't think that's an appropriate thing, you know, really gathering the resources. So you have to, you know, if you have a company that really believes in a new coordinator, the new coordinator and the salesperson are like hand in glove. I mean, I had a new coordinator, I swear to you, she could finish a sentence. You know, and that's wonderful. And that is like a diamond in the rough.
Let me ask you a question. If the new starts at the end, and you get to the end of the move, there's a cost. Typically for the
I always believe that the salesperson definitely has the initial, you know, friendship, if you will. Because you do, you become part of the plan for that point in time. And I always tell my customers, I will be with you from start to finish. And that includes if you have a plan. But it's also, I think, important to have somebody else, another resource.
Oh, I agree.
Because it creates a real conflict. I mean,
Just empower them with the data.
right, and it's empowering
Yeah, yeah.
because people are, you know, at loose ends with it. The meeting is very traumatic.
It's kind of like right here.
Yeah,
I don't know if y'all know it's a snail over here. This is a snail, and it travels really fast with food. The bad news is kind of like a blind.
And you know, something I have a lot of good customers. I mean, I have moved people from Virginia to California, from California to Florida, from Florida to Canada. So, I mean, I always give extra cards to them, and, you know, it's just kind of keeping up with them. Sometimes if I have time, I say, this is how
It reminds me, one of the things I'd like to share with you, one of the things that I did, again, you know, I'm an old man, I'm older than you are. Part of my story goes back 20 years. But what I did in North American Vietnam said I had 70% of the COD market. And that is, thank you. You know, you go out and do that. And I went, because you go to the mail, and you still get mail. And if you got 4 or 5 regular sized envelopes, if you got one that's the freshman, put them go to the store. And that's what I did. Is I went and it was a thank you. It's pretty great. I got some ass in right there. But And that worked like a charm. So you need to talk about it. I would recommend if you really have the next section. All right, now we're going to get into some quick summary. And what I want to do is get into the template real quick, and then we'll have a talk about it. But you know, this is sort of a visual. Now, one of the things that I do, and one of the things I would recommend that you do, is to compare the estimated to the actual. So that when you do the invoicing, and then the big thing is, and I use the word add-on down here, because basically you compare what you estimated to the actual, what you estimated, and then throughout the move, if there's an add-on, you include that, but you pull that out at the bottom, subtract that out of the actual charges, then compare that to the estimated. That's huge. That's huge.
What you've done here is full circle, and I don't think that our industry does that, where we actually compare what was estimated to the actual. Show of hands, how many people are actually following through this law? That's not enough.
The only way you learn.
Right.
You do.
But what I'm saying is, don't shoot yourself in the foot.
No.
Know what the add-on is, and then pull that out.
But let me give you an example. For years, as a driver, we would turn our logs in. No problem at all. Well, the van line one year decided to start auditing all the logs. And everybody's log, we all found out that we've been doing our logs wrong for years. But we didn't know it until we were correcting them. When we were said, hey, this is where you made the errors. And then we were able to learn and actually do our logs correctly. It's the same principle with the estimate. If you go full circle and actually compare the actuals to what you estimate, your accuracy level will skyrocket, and you'll get to that 96, 98% that I was talking about.
Yeah. And it's not because you're a good estimator, it's because there's a follow through.
You're correcting yourself. You're following the law all the way through.
Right. All right, and then this is the code about the freight bill, and it's not the freight, but every shipment shall have a freight bill. Now, sometimes it's a combination of freight bill, bill lading. And with this cycle, I paid the freight bill like a new bill. So you can think that way. And just show it to you. This is sort of why I use the template, the estimating, the binding, and all that. I think most of us here. And now the rookies, y'all have a clue on the binding and non-binding. Okay, well, y'all get that. I'm sorry, they got it. Well, the tariff, the way it's written in Virginia, is a multifaceted tool. You can do a non-binding estimate. You can bind transportation and not bind packing. I mean, anything you want to do. A guarantee not to exceed or affect money. Some of the new guys are doing it by cube. And that's one of the reasons why I said template at 1,200 cube, 1,300 cube, 1,400 cube. So you can charge by cube. But you have to sign off on it and so forth. So that will be compliant. But is that what you're looking for? Okay. But yeah, it's a non-binding estimate, but it's an estimate, and there it is. Or make it binding different ways. So, one of the things that I've done a lot is bind the transportation, but not packing, because you don't know what's happening. So you do all kinds of things. You can be creative. But you got to show weight miles as basis of the chart. That's the bottom. That's the problem area that we have on our new member. Hopefully with this new template we can address it.
I think the short version is a binding estimate is a guaranteed price. It's not going to be any higher. It's not going to be any lower. That's the price.
But guaranteed not to exceed,
Guaranteed not to exceed is that it can go lower, but it can't go higher. And then you've got a non-binding, which it is what it is. Whatever the actual weight is, whatever the actual packing is, that's what it is.
How accountable are the estimators for binding estimates?
Once they bind it, it doesn't even matter because you have to do it.
No, but I mean to their own company, for the profitability.
They'll get charged back.
I'm pretty sure the general manager will have an issue.
Yeah, exactly.
If you see him today and you don't see him tomorrow, he may not be around.
California, all their estimates were down. That's where I came from before coming back out east. Intra, locals, even interstate, everything was bound. So if it went over, salesperson got charged back the difference.
Talk about bringing the estimate accuracy.
All right, and then the survey, and the presentation, the bill ladies has a stamp on it, the certificate number, which I think makes us different from the Milton forms, because it was at the meeting, the guy Milton was there, and we talked, and I said, can anybody buy a Virginia bill of lading from you? Man, you got that? He's working California down on the curve. And he said, I'll tell you right now, I sell for him. Period. I mean, he got been out of shape. And I said, oh. And, but see, and that's what I'm saying. Anybody can go buy a Virginia bill of lading from Milton. What I'm doing with the template is, and I've had calls to confirm that, and that is, you know, they don't have a certificate number on it. You know, I have a statement, you know, on our bill of lading. So that makes it a little bit more acceptable, I think, to the customer and a little bit more honest. So I just want to pass that on. What I'm going to show you next, a flashcard, what I call flashcard, and this is from the last seminar that we had, when we talked about this and so forth. But here's the thing I want you to look at is to study the weights and then the quick counts. And this is what we have on the estimator, and then you click on it, click like normal, it automatically populates these numbers for you. And then you can agree or disagree as opposed to starting from scratch. So,
Where can we get this online?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And so what I would do is just copy and print it, because I use the program probably doesn't have it, but learn it. You know, and what I do is I argue with myself, and boy, he probably, that ain't right. You know, so you change it. But it's different than
gives you a basis to start with.
Yeah, and one. I mean, you get over that, and then you argue.
Because I think that if you go back to the slide, Roger, I think that the value there is the customer can tell whether it's light, normal, or heavy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a light kitchen. There's a few things. Well, my kitchen's kind of heavy. Right? You know, I think what you've done there is you've given the customer free choice. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing a phone estimate, is your kitchen light, normal, or heavy? And you let's say they go with light, there's your count right there. Yeah, 11 parts, 22 and 36.
What I usually do is I hit it, and I'll check the mirrors. You know, if I say normal, it says 3 mirrors, and there's only 150, I'll change it one. But I mean, you know, they just you work back. But I don't want to spend too much time on it. I just want to show this is available. You can download the study. We talked about this last year, and this is where I got problems. $1 pound. Various big items, and again, these are weights that I was thinking about doing a cue sheet. A cue sheet.
I really got to go back and review those because you got everybody talking, just kind of slurring through those.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we're okay.
All right, y'all agree?
Yeah, no, I think that's really good.
All right, you got 11 boxes, 22, 36, and then 36 boxes out of the kitchen. That's silly.
No.
But be amazed. I mean, if you miss the weight of the ship, 90% of the time it's in the boxes, because you didn't estimate enough boxes. Because you didn't estimate enough boxes, you didn't estimate the weight, and then you got other problems associated with that.
Now, you're about right at 36, because the average packer packs 40 boxes a day. Right. And how many times have you guys been all day?
Everybody else been done. Right. So, so these are things, the quick count on the living room. These are various weights here. And then the quick count on the dining room. And again, you can play with these as you go along. And the bedroom, same thing. And then I put the estimated weights in there. And like I said, these kind of like flash phones. And in the office, same thing. 40 heavy, books. You weigh 10 books. And then the appliances, you have the general weights there, and the metals.
I think this would be ideal to phone survey.
Yeah. And then the big weights, all that. So, but what I'd like to do now, what time is it?
We're doing it. We're cutting it off now.
What I'd like to do before we take a break, is I would spend 10 minutes with you and show you the template.
Let's take a break.
Break down.
Do we need to stop recording? We want continuous deal.
Can we start it back up again?
Yeah.
If I'm going to Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, anywhere up the East Coast.
This is bothering me, man. It just says stop recording. It's almost still recording. This is flashing.
The tolls are about the same.
Well, when we hit stop, it says it'll convert it, so I'm assuming we're good.
Yeah, I ran to Long Island, left Wednesday. It's not a range trip, so we got up there Thursday, booked, came back, and actually stopped at this little truck stop right after Dallas. Stayed there all the way back up to Long Island, came all the way back and stopped at the there. And then I had flat tire change almost here. And hey, when you're living right, I call and my tire man is at Super Trans. You come get it. He's like, do you have a tire? I was like, you're there. You gotta have a bag like that. So he goes out there, snags the tire, time of the day, when they're riding. We just $30. But that trip to Long Island, that's $190.
Are you controlling that?
Just right. Well, that's one of the things that household finances are doing right now. I do all my breakfast. I charge them always. Yeah. So if I'm going to Charlotte and there's no tolls, why should they pay tolls? That's right. Yeah, right. Whereas if I should do my mileage, just have to manually control. How am I supposed to do that? I'm cheating. I'm going to Charlotte. Right. But you're losing money. So
That's the mic.
Thank you.
He said earlier they was going to play this during break.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, so.
I don't think anyone's paying attention.
Got any more of those energy drinks? Can I have one?
So at least you're not way.
So there's one more.
Yeah, I don't know. Right.
Yeah, it's like the other two are soda. You okay with that?
If you're if Rod.
We, welcome everybody back to the college, right? We forgot, one important thing, two important things, before we got started, and Ernie, the man of the hour here, he's got a ticket. Does everybody have a ticket? Everybody got a ticket? Yes, Brooks here, he knew. It's cool.
I did. Pick one, mate. Close your eyes. Right there it is. Close your eyes, mate.
Get your glasses on.
Come back there.
Keep this coupon.
We're going.
435-278. 278. There you go. We'll do one more, and then we'll do one more at the end.
There you go. You get the money? That's right.
435-296. 296.
296. Split it. 296.
Hey,
Very good. Congratulations.
Actually, what we're doing now, we're into Paul's time, so what I'd like to do is speed up real quick, show you the input on the template, and then, answer questions, later on, or whenever as you use it. But just show you briefly the input on it, and then how it flows across, and then we'll get back to Paul. The miles, everybody familiar, had to look up the miles, the 5-digit zip code. We put in, what's the, what's your zip code? 231? I'm sorry. Okay, and then, what's northern in there?
2201.
20. All right. So here's the mileage. Then you come over here, and what I did here is try to have sort of a landing page so you can look up, Google Maps, Virginia 511, check to see if your roads are closed. It's a check scale locator. If you got roads, you can, and if you need to look and make sure there's no problems, bridges out and all that. All that's available. The consumer booklet is here. You download that. DMV, truck data, hours of service rules. Again, as an estimator, you need to kind of be aware of them. So you kind of get your cup of coffee and you look at this and kind of go over, share the road, there's a lot of good information there. Safety measurement system, if you put your DOT number in, the federal people will give you your scorecard in your company. So, so anyways, all this is designed to kind of, bring you up to par. Then here is where a lot of the newer movers will do it by room because they used to estimating by room, by highway. So let's just say, okay, I've got a four bedroom, house, maybe. All right. So, and the average weight is 4,200. The lesson average is 3,500. All right. So here, if you go in with let's say 4,200 and 3-man crew, and then you unload 4,200, 3-man crew. So what we're doing here is calculating what your cost would be, and here's the hourly rate. Let's just say we charge $25 a pound. This is just an arbitrary rate.
Let's get that number up.
125. Hey, go. All right, so you put that in, see it calculates it, and then I fixed mark up. I think it's what mistake I made. So now all of a sudden you see your per 100 rate on a local basis, doing it on the outside. And I did that just to kind of help the folks that are not used to estimating weight. And then the shuttle, you can put in shuttles here. For example, say you got a flight carrier, they shuttle it hard, you can put in yes, and so it calculates it for you and your destination. So that gives you, and I use it a lot, in pricing. As an estimator, you got to price it. So this helps you in terms of giving some idea of the pricing that you have. Now,
just what you've done there is you've converted hourly pricing to weight based so that it complies with the intrastate.
Right, and this is the problem we have is that lots of times the intrastate shipments are priced on hours and you put the code that's wrong.
But this tool allows folks to do it that way, but actually present it as weight based so that it's
right. Well, this is just sort of a scratch pad. So you come over get the pricing, and so over here you put in 4,200 pounds here, and so and then it populates. Yeah, it actually comes up 47.1. So let's see what it can do. Pretty close. See what I'm saying? The 41 points. So you can now all of a sudden you can play with that. You can just count that 10%. Again, the original is just a notepad. So when you get over here, this is the actual price. And what I've done here is the idea was the estimated you put in the center. So if you want to go lower, let's say you want to go 4,000 pounds, all right, and then you want to go say 3,500 pounds. There you go. All right, and then you want to go say 4,500 pounds, and then you say okay, and we go into 5,000 pounds, and of course 4,200 is kind of low. Generally, most of them is 70,000 pounds. So now you can go back to 6,500 and go up to 10 pounds. And I always fill all of them out. You have to go about 200 pound increments or something. And what you're doing is on the comprehensive estimate over here, so you're showing the customer, what to charge them. And so you're basically able to give them 11 estimates at one time. And what you do is say, my idea is, here's time. The estimated bill rate, let's just say, let's go back to 8,000. And then so this would be, say, 8,500. This would be around 9,500, 10,000. Say 10,500.
you have in your fuel surcharge discount.
It's always about the bottom. Yeah. And then here you would go, say 7,500, or 7,500. So anyways, you can set it up, okay? And then you go over here to the comprehensive. So you say you call, you see that damn sticker. You call them up and say, okay, I estimated 8,000 pounds. So you put that up here. And the 2,000 pounds no go. All right, and, I use company. All right, so you send it to the customer and say, here's comprehensive, you know, well, you just do a surcharge and all that. But anyway, let's just say that, okay, I've estimated your shipment at 8,000 pounds is $3,200. Now, it looks like you got 2,000 pounds is not going to go. But if it did go, it's $4,000. So basically it was $800 difference. You didn't know that. Because you only had one shot. You didn't know that it was $4,000.
I have a stupid question scenario here. What if you had, say, you want to give a guy a quote, and you're like, hey, I'm getting divorced. I'm not sure what my wife, and we are negotiating. I think most of it's going, but you know, the day coming to move, some of it may not be going. I'm still not sure yet. You know, it could vary a lot. It's a local move for my stuff, as we're saying, but the other stuff is stated. So would you break it down like this, and then since it's local, the hourly, the weight, I mean, what scenario? How would you handle it?
Well, this is the in-trial template, you know, advice with the $31 or more. Again, you could do this with the local. I mean,
it's less than 50 miles.
I think what you tend to do on a local estimate is just to write the estimate at your hourly rate, how long you would take, and then on your loose specification, note all the items that are available.
If it's beyond a 50, then you'd write up the different weights.
you can't. You know, there's 31 miles or more. You have to use this for the Virginia Tech. But here's the idea. So you call them up and you say, okay, blah, 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 blah. And this is the 3 days before the move, and the coordinator has all the data that they need, and then you find out through a room-to-room detailed listing that, okay, there's going to be 9,500 pounds. So what you would do, that's option 3. So you come over here and choose option 3. So then see, that changes the estimated cost. So, and the reason I did it that way is that you don't lose the audit. And now you can go back in and revise this and say, you know, now the transportation is based on option 3. And you still have the audit. So that's a good option. Now, if you get back to price, this is, I like this on story. And what these are, this is the 100-weight basis. You say yes or no. Say if you say yes, it populates it. And over here, the weights. And this is the regular time, so it populates it. Same thing here. The storage is what I like. Is you say you need storage, you say yes, and it populates it for you. All you got to do is come in and put in the days. So it's very unique, very quick. You know, once you get used to it, and that's sort of the way it flows. Well, yeah. Who you with that? Okay, so you have a certificate number, and it's there somewhere. I sent it out. Now, Tammy corrected me the other day, and the seasonal rate adjustment, I left that out.
You sent it out, or
It's gone. No, I sent it out. See, I put the certificate numbers on each one.
Okay.
And that's about a 6-hour job, you know, send it out. So, but the seasonal rate adjustment is the same concept. You know, if you want to charge seasonal rate adjustment, you know, so you know, you just say no. So that's kind of how that works. Now the valuation will come down. That in most of the members will charge a per $100 rate. So let's just say the 0 is $1, and 250 is 85. And again, Mr. Thompson, these are just rates we just pull out of here. Say 70, 75, and 45. All right, so and then so you have 2 choices here. You have weight value, or you have table value. All right, weight value. Again, these are just by default. The industry goes to $6 a pound. You know, you may go $3.50, $5.50, $8.50. You know, most companies, I think, like $6. And see what that does is it calculates it automatically. So what you would do here is come in and choose. Well, this is for the table, but I have a tendency to use it. Say $50, so it populates there. All right, and then you can do the same thing all the way across. You know, fill that in if you're doing the comprehensive. And then 10% usually people will charge 10% of the transit rate store. And then that will vary either on a 30-day period or 15-day, depending on the company. All right, and now the table of rates, you will come down in here. And lots of times, if you're looking for a van line, you'll use their table of rates. Although I would recommend that you look at them because they're kind of cheap. And the reason is they charge you back. That's just an editorial. But anyways, and you fill in that off that table if that's what you use. But if not, and you use the rate value, then it will show up here. So now the traditional estimate, see all these things show up, and this is where I've had a lot of comments on. And we were talking about this at the break. When I give the estimate, I like to show them the valuation, but I don't want to get hung up on it because, you know, it's just something that you lose a whole lot of what you gain by being caught up in. But I like to show it. And last year when we were doing the year before, when we were doing the workshops, everybody wanted to do like the federal government requires, and that is to list everything out, which is what we've done. So over here, so you give the estimate, and then they call back and the book and they say, oh, by the way, I want the 250. You get the 250 and see they're popular there. So a lot of them didn't realize that was a drop down there. So you can come back and fill that in later. And that's not like that. Is that what you think about it?
Yeah, I think when you drop it down there.
Okay.
Yeah, the zero to that. Can you say you sent those out for the trip notes?
I've sent out some. Tammy got hers, but I need to spend about 6 hours sending that.
Yeah, we don't have.
Yeah. And other than that, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Anybody have any particular questions?
Where on this was the seasonal rate adjustment?
I put it in the SRA right here, yes, no.
Right, I didn't even see that.
No, I made a mistake. I didn't put that on the first one out.
Oh, I got it.
And Tammy, called me correcting this. I'm gonna send them all out again here shortly. But I thought maybe we'd go through today's meeting and make sure there's no other mistakes. That's a hard job.
Any suggestions though, you know where you go pull up from your pricing thing?
Okay.
Go up to where right above the valuation where you have two lines there, third party option agreement.
Okay, yes, sir.
There's only two lines there.
Three.
Is it three? I would just suggest maybe sometimes you have probably the correction, whatever you want to round space. You know, really.
Well, I have the input for the crates. You do full crates.
How about room for comment?
Yeah, I think that's where I was talking about.
Okay. Now, if you use a traditional estimate, I've run out of room on the 8.5, but maybe there, somewhere in there, you can put a comment in, but it's not many places. You just have to write a letter or something to come up with. This is not much room there. And, but here's the comprehensive, I think, is really, and we was talking about the pack. And here's what you would do on the pack. And then again, the thing is, what you estimate is in the center. All right, so let's say you estimate, one fish pack and 4 doubles and 2 drinks. Maybe 5 minutes. All right, that's what you've estimated based on the survey result. And see, I have a quick count here. So you come over here, and if you want to populate it, you can come over here and then add in your, add in your map department, and as an option, see where it says packing options. Now that goes over here, and you can put a little comment in there saying, this is for estimate, or this is full service packing, here. And so you can submit that, and then in addition to that, over here on option 1, and again, the theme was last to last and more to come. So, maybe the breakables over here, they're just 5, and then, they, over here, let's say, that's 5, and whatever the breakables would be, plus the mattresses. So again, when you go to the packing option, you can say, okay, Option one would be packing breakables only. And option two would be full service pack. You can explain that a little bit there. But what you're doing is you're showing that to the customer, what it costs for a full service pack, which now you can't. If you initially going with, the beds and milk. So again, this, I think will give the estimator / salesman an opportunity to upsell. And, because heretofore you only had one shot.
And the customer knows what they'll say if they do what they say.
Right, when you call the coordinator, calls them up and says, have you finished packing? No. But now they know about what it's gonna cost you for a full service pack. So your movie coordinator's job is much easier because now everybody's in front of you. So it's a negative time. And the only way to do that is put it on an option sheet because it's so much better.
So the middle is what you estimated, and option 1 to decide is like a full pack.
Right.
That would be their option.
Right, that's the way it, on the pricing sheet, is what you're talking about?
The packing part.
Oh, right. Well, that was my thought. It could be anything you wanted to do. The reason I have option one is because in my mind, the estimate would be here, whatever you estimate. And then option one would be probably the breaker. You try to upsell the pack. In option, you got the number now. The one on the right, option two would be the full service. Because I have the quick count there. And again, if you need to get the numbers off of the estimate, but if for some reason you don't have that, quick count will at least give you some.
How many options do you have?
Three.
Just the three.
Okay,
What's that third option?
Yeah.
That's usually exactly what you.
Yeah.
The third option is.
Anything, whatever you need, yeah.
All right, while you have it on the screen, go back up to the top.
Okay.
The mileage.
Okay.
All right. On mine, it doesn't carry that 118 to the yellow box and put it in.
Yeah,
If you don't put it in,
yeah.
it won't give you the correct
we
amount.
Roger, appreciate you pointing
Yeah,
that
yeah,
out.
yeah, no. Oh, yeah. The reason I did that is that so people could plug in the other mile.
Yeah.
But
you have to put it in.
Yeah, and I have a comment there that says that. But again, nobody will read that. It says blah, 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 blah. So I put that in automatically. So I figured the ones that 90% of people probably just use that anyway. So the ones that don't want to use it will have to change it. It's folks up in Northern Virginia, they have their own system, their own mileage programs. I don't know, but that's what I got a couple calls and we changed it. Well, they have a different protocol. In other words,
When you go from DC to Maryland or something, okay, so like if we're here, okay, we're gonna go to Chincoteague. Okay, so how are you gonna go? You're gonna run down to Norfolk and go across Chesapeake Bay Bridgestone and pay a big toll, or are you gonna go up across Annapolis and back down in that way? I mean, there's reasons why mileage can be optional. It's not just one road that goes to a place. So, that allows you to make that choice.
You might have one move out of the whole year, maybe two, there are two, and you give us not.
But you just gotta make sure that yellow box has a mileage in it.
Yeah,
It will not
pick
be
up the
correct.
miles. And just, I had to invert the whole town, so it didn't work like that. But anyway, I think you're going to find that the comprehensive is really like a guaranteed estimate. I've talked to a lot of folks that use guarantees and say, okay, I'm guaranteeing you the price. You can't guarantee me the rate. I can't guarantee you the rate because we don't know. Nobody knows. But, I've estimated 8,000 and look like everything goes to 10,000. So somewhere you're going to be in here. So I'll guarantee you the price. And to me, that's a selling mechanism. Over and over. The same way when it goes down lower. And usually what I'll do is I'll change my discount if it goes lower because of the cost. But you have that choice. It's kind of like playing cards. You can hold your hands close, but once you lay it down, you got to work. Same thing with the estimate. You hold this close to you, and once you lay it down, then that's what you go with.
I thought calling there for mover unpacking. How do you do that, or is that rare?
But here's the full service. It's the same yes and no. Or here, you put in the beds, and the same thing here. We put count for that too. Those
Those are different rates.
Uh-huh.
How many customers want unpack? Is it rare? Or is it-
Most of the days are here, and the rest of it is.
It's free, most of
Unpacking is laying up to a flat, closest flat surface, right?
Right, right.
So it's not
Not putting it away.
Yeah, maybe like you said, it's unpacking there.
Yeah.
Taking them out of the house, putting them into their retirement community, and everything is as it should be.
Different clientele.
But if you unpack, you get the box. So you charge them for the box, but you get it back, so you can reuse it. We don't really like unpacking.
No, you won't put our people stuff in there.
How much credit will give you because I give you the box?
Tell him, John.
He says, well.
Roger.
But I'm sorry.
So for the unpacking of beds and stuff, you guys typically charge for that, put the bed back together?
If it's on tariff, you got to try to wait. See, if it's a local movie, it's an hourly, it's not money, so it's that. But let me show you the crates here. Let's just say 45 feet. So this will calculate the cube for you. And then you choose the rate here, and it's the regular rate. So it calculates, and it all shows up, like here's a tradition of it, and it shows up here. And the comprehensive, now the comprehensive, you have some choices here. Let's see, do I have it? If you charge by the $100, as you have this by the $100 package, when you come up into the traditional, see, it only shows the column, but you're clicking here and putting full service, and it shows you what's up there. There's a little drop down, show you what the full service rate. Okay. A lot of little buttons like that, we can probably spend the rest of the day going over, and what I recommend is just use it, call me if you have any questions, and I don't want to take any more call time, but one of the governors takes a long time to do that. Any questions, anyone?
I'm good, I'll call you.
Okay. You already have a copy, right, and this one here, I'm gonna try to get it out within the week. Like I said, it's 6 hours. And I just wanted to make sure that I didn't do it again. Well, no, I sent it out personally because I put your name on it. Kind of like right here. See, this is the see, this is a disclaimer here, and then this is the moving companies and this is their statement. So I put that on every one of them. All right. Well, thank you very much. And anybody want to see the video again? A lot of you missed it.
Yeah.
All right, so
just when you're ready for our nucleus, I'm gonna just plug in here. But I don't think we need. Matter of fact, we're trying to be more light.
Good morning. Does anybody want a copy of the sheet? Do you? Thank you. I was kind of interested to see, first of all, do I need this? Yeah. When I first started putting this together, I really had to condense it because a lot of us who've been doing this for a while really take it for granted that everybody.
People in this room may never have seen this.
Knows how it works, but that's showing of people who use the digital product and people who use a paper cue sheet. And so people who use nothing at all. I mean, that's fine. We run into a lot of guys who do it. Okay, well, that's good to know. Well, the basic idea, when I first started doing this was how I wanted my estimators to approach every aspect of the walkthrough. Reading, looking at access, bullet protection on down the line, and then I realized I had to kind of condense this down to what a cube sheet is. The basic idea behind the cube sheet is that it allows you to determine the space necessary for either transport or store the shipment, what type of truck you can use, or how many trucks you need for a specific job. I printed off, I went online and printed off a very generic cube sheet. I'm sure everybody who uses one has their own version of what they tweaked it to. My cube sheet does not include, for instance, the boxes in my cube. I run my boxes completely separate. And I have a place for customer boxes. I have a place for my carrier pack boxes. I have my total cube here. A cube is basically just an inventory of everything, split up by room typically. It allows for a detailed inventory of the shipment for your estimate. It also aids in providing an accurate estimate as well as information in dispatch. It also notes what's not to be moved so that you can inform your customer as well as the crew of dispatch. It gives you the ability to provide a detailed pack estimate or to supply the right types of containers for customer packing. On local estimates, it enables you to go through your cube and calculate all your times. Now, we have a very detailed way of going through an inventory and applying minutes per piece for 2-man pieces, 1-man pieces, boxes. That can vary depending upon numbers of flights of stairs. If there's an elevator involved, the guys are dollying 3 at a time versus carrying however many they can carry at a time. Through your own resources, you guys can develop those sorts of things. It provides a checklist for your estimators to make sure that all the areas are covered. Who's doing the packing on each area? Not to forget to go through additional evaluation and that sort of thing with your customer. Tough pieces, access at origin and destination, disassembly and reassembly of any items that you might need to deal with, bunk beds, toe flexes, canopy beds, grandfather clocks, whatever that might be. Special tools and equipment that you need to send the crew with on the morning when they leave. And it provides a area for you to make all of these notes so that when you move forward in your post call, you can review all of those specific questions. My personal cube sheet has kind of morphed into something much bigger than the thing we handed out today. I've got a section devoted to expense breakdown on the job, what type of job it is, so that I can decide what type of guys I need to send on that particular job. If I've got a high maintenance customer, or if I've got very involved pieces, if I've got extra large pieces that I need to send my big guys on, whatever it might be. But the key with this thing is just to be able to become comfortable with it so that when you go through the house, you're confident, you don't forget anything, and you're able to give an accurate professional estimate. We've gotten to the point with my guys, it's very hard when we try to slow down for a new estimator, because we probably go through a 3 or 4 bedroom house in maybe 15, 20 minutes. Able to talk to the customer at the same time, what a nice piece, and I'm going through the room and we're done. And with our new guys, I almost have to stop or really slow down just so he can keep up. With all of my new estimators, I take them to my parents' house, because my parents have a ton of stuff. And it wasn't really until I started to do that I was able to really see that a lot of times when you get comfortable with what a single dresser is, a double dresser, a triple dresser, a lot of our new guys have trouble differentiating between what's a 20 cube, a 30 cube, what's a large wardrobe, on down the line. Going to my mom's house and having her ask us if we want lunch, do we want something to drink, And we spend 20 minutes in each room discussing those pieces, and it really has enabled us to get our estimates very accurate. You know, it takes me 3 of these to do my parents' house. So we spend an hour going through, you know, the 3 of them.
Now, the basics of this, Paul, just for somebody who may never seen these, or just to understand it, the far left column is you list how many of each of these different items.
Right.
And then they're listed to the main room, and each item has an assigned cubic foot measurement to it. So you basically take the number of those items, multiply it times the cube. You total the cubes up at the bottom of each section.
And then you multiply
it
by
times
7,
7, and that's how the industry has done it for a long time.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, basically, that's why you have to become accurate with this so that you're getting everything on your inventory. You know, it used to be, for instance, when I first started doing this, my boss would go through a local house, a local job, and just list numbers of rooms, because back then it seemed like it was almost an hour a room for a 4-man crew, and then he would go backwards from there. You know, we were talking earlier, it used to be that a 12,000-pound job, we might have 1 4-man job on our schedule a week. I mean, now we go into houses 15, 16, 22, 25,000 pounds. It's a gaudy amount of stuff. And without this, I don't know that we would be able to accurately define how many trucks we need, relate that to how long the job is going to take. But basically, Wes is right. You go through and do a full inventory. You make a mark for each article that's in that room, and then you multiply the number of pieces that you mark down by the cubic feet per piece, add all of those numbers up, carry those over to your grand total for cubic footage. And that cubic footage can tell you how many trucks it's going to take, how many vehicles you need, whatever it might be. Multiply the grand total of your cubic feet by a factor of 7, and then you get the total estimated weight. Now, as I was saying, some guys factor the boxes into their cubic footage. I prefer actually to calculate them separately on the end, and usually run, on doing a weight estimate, I usually run an average of 20 pounds per box, unless it's a book, canned good, records, and then we run those as burgers. Everybody has their own ways of doing that. You know, some guys will run their weight at 5, some people will run 6.5. We run 7 just as a general rule, because I would rather my guys estimate heavy than end up with a low weight. That's basically the gist of the cube sheet. Now, on my cube sheet, I have spaces for what we're packing, listed by wardrobe cartons on down the line. You know, hanging clothes, mirrors, pictures, glass tops, lamps, stereo, marble pieces, china, kitchen, small fragiles. And then I'll label what we're packing, what the customer's packing, and then what the customer's taking. And I'll do that as soon as I walk in the house. I'll say, are you guys planning on doing the packing yourself? Is that something we're going to do for you? If they're doing the packing, I immediately ask them, is there anything that they plan on moving themselves? And as we go room by room, I know to my front with customers not taking with them. Now, again, there are cube sheets that have columns for pieces that are going versus columns for pieces that are not going. I like to label specifically what is not moving, just because in the end, I won't remember. If I tell a customer not going, 2 single dressers, a bookcase, a wardrobe, I would rather write the pink bedroom set, the floral couch in the family room, all of Mark's room, whatever it might be, so that on my estimate I can specifically state what we are not responsible for moving. And I've never had the customer take that as a negative, more than just more information that makes them understand what my estimate is based on. I've got areas for disassembly and items that require extra care. I've got areas for special items and the number of men it takes to move those pieces, gun safes, pianos, extra large wooden pieces, bunk beds, whatever. I've got origin and destination specifics as far as numbers of flights of stairs, long walk, truck access, if there are low winds, all of that information goes in my food sheet. We have, I went to Wes's office not long ago because we are in the process of going digital. But I've held on to this thing for a long time because I never found a system that was affordable for me that had all the spaces for all the notes that I like to take. We finally found a software program that we were really happy with, but there's a lot that goes into implementing those sorts of systems. We started in January. By the time we got to late February, it seemed like our season started very, very early this year, and our phone was already off. And we've actually postponed the implementation of our program until November, so that we have more time to devote to it. So I've got better things to do right now than playing with my computer.
It's the program you found, the IV State, or what program is it?
It's the Mr. Mover software. Yeah. We see a lot of people come through with tablets and Surface Pros, whatever you might use. I've always found that this has been faster for me. But in today's day and age, right now, what I do, we go out and do a survey. My staff prints up estimate paperwork. We take it with us just for that 1% of the customer that wants us to actually work up the estimate there. What I'm finding more is that when we actually do the survey, customers want us out of there. They want it in their inbox later on. We go right back to the office, write the estimate up, give it to staff, they email it out, and it's done. But there are a lot of steps in that process. With our new system, we'll basically be inputting it in a tablet. It's going to calculate the weight automatically. By the time we get out to our car, we can literally hit the email button and it will automatically be in the customer's inbox. We get back to the office, we'll populate the system, it'll be in our program at the office, and then when they call to book a move, we basically dispatch the job to the date. Then the day before, we print out paperwork on the same program. There's none of this going back and forth. It wasn't until probably 5 years ago, we were still using a typewriter to run our regular, all of our forms and things like that. And those are just growing pains that you have to go through to be more, just be more problem. Questions?
I have one question.
Yeah.
Can I get a copy of this?
Of mine?
Yeah.
There you go.
Calling for an estimate. We will be the fourth one.
Did you really? Good Lord.
Paul is very proprietary. It took a lot to get him up here to do this, actually.
Yes, sir.
From your cube sheet, you determine the total weight. How do you determine the number of men you need based on that weight?
We've developed a system, and we started it on office moves because office moves seemed really daunting to a lot of my guys. We go through, we physically go through and count the number of 2-man pieces, 1-man pieces, chairs, and boxes. And then we decide how many trips to the truck, loading and unloading, those items take. So for each 2-man crew, for instance, you have a list of 2-man pieces. You divide your number of 1-man pieces by 2 to get, because each guy is carrying 1 piece. Your chairs, assuming that they're regular chairs like these, you divide by 4. Guys are carrying 1 under each arm. And then on boxes, we divide by 3. Because guys usually, whenever you go to a crew, they're usually one guy carrying 2 boxes and 1 guy carrying 1. That's just always the way it's if there are elevators involved and we're using dollies, then we divide those box numbers by more depending upon how many we think the guys are going to get on dollies. So if you have an elevator unload, you might divide that box number by 8, and then you split up your load and unload. But those minutes per piece, really, you have to watch your crews and develop that based on the speed and efficiency of your crews.
And I don't think, just.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, and just to add to what Paul's saying, I think that your individual business makeup will determine how fast your guys are gonna move. For instance, Paul's guys are doing locals every day, they're good at it, they're very efficient. He can figure out how long his guys are gonna take to do the job. Now, you take the same job, but you put some guys in there that do international. It's gonna be a different time, because they're used to wrapping a little bit more, or packing a little bit more. Or you do a crew that does military, they're gonna wanna pack more than a local guy's gonna wanna pack. You follow me? So all of that, what he's saying, you're gonna have to figure out within your own organization where your guys' time.
But it doesn't take them long. You go through and do an inventory, throw out the estimate, get the job, and then look at the number of hours it took these particular 3 guys to do the move, and go back through the inventory, and then relate that to your time. Remember to include your travel time in that as well, and any special packing or anything like that. But if it's a straightforward move, it doesn't take you that long to figure out those formulas. And then it's easy. Then it's just math. There's no more going through with the tablet going, wow, full living room to the next room, wow, big dining room. It's all just math at that point. It makes it really easy to pass on to your new guys, because it's literally math. They're just formulas.
Do you typically, it sounds as though do you do more local moves?
We do a ton of local moves.
Okay. Now, do you typically keep the same crews together, do you have that continuity?
No.
You just mix them up?
We are a very unique company in that all of my employees are college students. All the management's full-time professional, but I've been fortunate to have the same core group of guys year-round for about the last couple of years. But generally, my crews during the school year are made up of guys who are taking the year semester off from school, between graduate and undergraduate studies. It might be a guy who's worked for me for a while, he's finally graduated, but now he's moved up to making so much money here, he doesn't want to go move on. In the summertime, I'll probably take on another 25 guys who are on summer break. We only run straight trucks. All of them are grossed out under 26,000 pounds. So I don't have certain crews that I keep together. We mix it up all the time. And I find that there are simply guys who do certain jobs better than others. If I have a huge, probably 15, 16,000 pound local, I have my part-time National Guard guy on the job who runs his crew like a military crew, yeah. And I'll have one strong guy for the big piece that I need on there, and then I have my 2 runners who just do nothing but run stuff. We mix it up every day. And I think that's, we try not to work the same guys together all the time. Yes, sir.
How important do you think, especially for the new people, it is for them to be familiar with how their operation actually does? I know yours is specific, but I think everybody in this business, well, especially estimators, have to have a feel of what's going on the street.
I can't imagine, I would think it would be a distinct disadvantage to come into this business and not have grown up through the business, packing, moving. I don't even know how you get your head around going into a house and doing that, unless you've been in the trenches packing and moving. We don't, again, I run a pretty small business. I do sales. Me and my general manager do send out. We do all the interviews. We do all the training. We do everything that goes into our business. And part of that scheduling is knowing attitudes of guys and how they get along. This guy doesn't want to work with this guy. That's okay. I see that every day, so I know that. That must make, I think that's extremely important. But I don't know how you do it if you didn't know all of those nuances of everything that goes on.
I will make a comment that for people that have not grown up in this business, is for your packing, to be familiarize yourself with the size of your boxes. Because then if you know what a size of a 5.2 China barrel is, you can walk into a room and say, well, okay, that's a China barrel worth of stuff. And whether it gets packed in 125 or 3 of your cube still shouldn't come out the same.
You know, we generally think about 8 place settings per dish bag. And as a general rule, that typically seems to hold true. What you were saying about figuring out what boxes you want to cube something out and sticking with that box, when I go through a rough place like a garage or a basement, for instance, I'll do a sweep and get all my furniture, and then I go back and get all my boxes. Otherwise, if I try to do it like this, I start to get lost in the shuffle. If I have a job that's totally customer packed, again, I don't care what kind of box they're packing it in. I think in 4-5s. So when I'm looking at that garage, you know, the big metal shelving that folks have now and everybody has, I'm seeing 10 4-5s every time I see one. And that's an easy way for me to get a grip on volume of goods in that garage. And it makes what used for some people I think is a 20-minute ordeal is almost just a 5-minute peek as you look around this garage and see how much stuff people
have. Thanks for putting the human aspect on this job that we do, because I know there are a lot of people that don't have that kind of experience that you have, that some of us have, wonder how that actually works, and that this person's pissed off at this person and can't do this and that they're the only ones that have to deal with that. That's not true. I guarantee you that every emotion and every situation that you've seen so far, you've all seen a bunch, and that in itself right there can help you out. I also wanted to say that I forgot what I was going to tell you. But, anyway, as far as well, I'll just let you keep going. Yeah.
Well, how do you recruit enough people if you feel that they have to have experience growing up in the industry? Is there enough pool to draw from?
Oh, no, we don't. There's never that much experience out there. What we try to do, we have tried to hire guys from outside our company before. I just always prefer to use somebody from within our organization. There's usually somebody who comes along every couple of years that I can tell really is bought into our system, and I think is a great person, and they're smart and they're devoted, and that's how. Luckily, we have a lot of guys come through our system, and they're in a position where they're graduating, and maybe I can throw them a hook before somebody else does. I'll even plant that seed early on, you know.
But that's gonna be tough to do for other organizations that don't have.
There are a lot of, there are a lot of things, even being part of this board, sometimes I think I have a really different perspective on a lot of things that we do that the other guys don't, and vice versa. That's why it's nice to have so many people from different types of companies in the same room, because it seems like we still all have the same questions.
By the way, it came back to me. I wanted to answer his question that you kind of sidestepped by going to the commercial aspect of it, whereas I think his was driven more towards the residential, and that was, you have X amount of weight, and you want to know about how many movers to put on for that job. And so the answer for your question is the number of 350 pounds per hour, per man hour, is somewhere in the ballpark for you. And then the rest of his answer is totally legit, because access issues drive the time factor, and the time factor rate is directly related to the rate factor. So over the years, you want to try to develop a normal residential example for yourself, and make that be whatever it is. Because if you live in the land of hills, then that's different than living, you know, in the peninsula, you know, where you don't really have any hills. And then your guys will affect that number. And then the nature of that particular job. So the commercial part of it, very much different than the residential part. And as Roger pointed out, most houses have basically the same stuff. And then it becomes a density issue. And I can tell you, people that go out and love wicker are going to furnish the whole freaking house in wicker. And then there's these little ladies, and they go to Haynes or wherever they buy this stuff, and they have these beds, and the footboards weigh 200 pounds a piece. So, you know, that drives your density, okay? And that's how that fluxes there. And in the overriding moral of this entire day should be that if you're not estimating the job and then back checking the actual job, you'll never get that relativeness of how it's going to go down. You have to formulate something that you know and then bounce the rest off of.
I'd just like to add to what Jeff was saying. Don't forget about the weather, because that will add time on the road. If it's 100 degrees out there, it doesn't go as fast in the afternoon.
Right.
If it's raining or if you have snow, that's
Or
going to
Friday.
take a couple hours. That's stuff that you can't foresee at the time of day or Friday. The other thing I would like to add is that it is possible. It's just like, it's exactly what Paul said. It becomes math in a certain point. And if you do the work of doing an accurate estimate, as far as listing everything go and not go on your Q sheet, whether you're using an electronic version or a paper version, if you do the diligence, if you do the work and list everything, and I forgot the gentleman from Secret over there, but he said, you know, if you know the size of the boxes, you look at items and say, okay, that's 5 cubic feet, that's a dishwasher, that's 1.5 cubic feet. If you teach a guy that way, he's never had to pack a box in his life, but he can estimate accurately what that job is going to take to get done. I've seen it done time and time again. It can be done. And you may be at a disadvantage from the nuances of, you know, the reason that Paul is so successful is because of the time that he's put into this industry and the things that he has learned. And so he couldn't imagine life without that. But let's say you're coming in new and you want to learn this business, you don't have that advantage. It becomes math if you do the work and do an excellent, accurate estimate as far as your packing and what it's going to take to move, and it becomes math at that point. There are certain weight factors or time factors that you can multiply that math to and come out with an accurate.
But I would urge you, you just need to practice that. You need to practice, that's all. And you can't practice in a customer's house. You have to go, I've spent so many hours at my parents' house, at my partner's parents' houses, wherever it might be, going through their stuff. And it gives you an opportunity to really slow down, make sure that you're getting, and just make practice.
And one other thing that people that have not been in the business, you go out and do a survey, go out, take the time to go out on the job and watch the job.
Right.
That'll just feed you so much information right then and there.
And watch your crews. You know, I park down the street with my crews all the time, just watch what's going on. Spy. Sometimes it depends on how good they're doing.
Yeah.
What do you do for like guys and training them to pack? I thought of the idea of going to like Goodwill and buying some cheap stuff.
That's
have
exactly
a guy
what we do.
basically pack it. Like
We actually have a training house in our warehouse that's set up like an apartment. And we went to Goodwill, bought all grandma's stuff. We have china cabinets, it's all on display. And as part of their training, they go through and pack all of that stuff up. Yeah, wasn't a huge investment. And again, take them to your mom's house and pack her stuff up, you know. But that's exactly what we do. And we have the guys load all the stuff on the truck, inventory is added, just as part of their training process. Cool. Anything else? Thank you.
Well, I'd like to do next is
get our all-star panel. Get a little presentation from them. We need to have RW. Okay, all right. Yeah. RW, if you put that on the other side, you can go.
Well, what I'm getting at right, I'll tell you, I'm kind of trying to get that making sales because I see people every day. But when I get up here to speak to some people, there's my heart, I like to come out of my chest. I don't see how I make it happen. But I will tell you too that I'm a testament to you can do this business without knowing what you're, knowing the business beforehand. Because I was in warehouse and office management for 11 years and never been moving when I moved here 2 years ago. Wes hired me as a warehouse manager, and I did that for the first year, and then come into sales for the year. And he hadn't fired me yet, so I'm doing something right. So it's working. Make sure I don't hit the wrong button here and show you my personal pictures on here, okay? This is the program I think that Paul is going to that he was speaking of. This is what we currently use. It's the IGC software. So until I kind of get, my voice may sound a little nervous. I don't apologize. Like I said, I don't speak well, but
You're doing great, Art.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna try to do the best. I made myself, to kind of show you here, but like if, and I've never done the paper form before, so I don't know what it's like. I can't tell you, if there's a big transaction for them now, because I will tell you this, that I love this. And the one big plus is I can read my writing when I get back to the office.
Yeah.
If I'm pencil and stuff, and I get done, I get back, wow, that's what I write there. So this, my spelling's probably still off when I get back at the office, but I can still read. I can make notes. So what I do if I'm out in the field and I'm just going to create a customer out in the field. You can't see where my fingers go, but actually, you'll see as I go along here. So I'm just going to put in, what do you find me? Yeah, and I can record it. Like I said, instead of writing all this on paper, I just put the email in. So if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to ask, because a lot of times I do that when I'm in a customer's house. I'm new to this, but still, I'll go through them. I tell them, ask me questions as I go along, because I'm still in the process where I'm counting boxes and looking at things, so it's not that I'm ignoring them. I still have to go back to them and talk to them, but I'm trying to get my job done and do it accurately. So, all right, so I've created a customer in there with the brick next there. You see about the 6 months down. So I'll click on the little eye there. They just updated this program, and the little blue eyes, they used to be like little arrows and circles, and I was used to that, and I don't like to change, so now I'm going to kind of fumble a little bit, but they changed it. I was used to looking at certain things. So there I am. I created a customer. I've got my email address there, so I'll go ahead and put an address in.
What I think RW is cool about this is that all this information gets put in, or can get put in as soon as the call comes in. So when your staff answers the phone, they create these files for the customer. When RW calls them back, he sets an appointment, and that's it. All this information is already in there. So the email address is in there, everything there. So that's what populates every form from there on.
All right, with our company, we don't do that. We have someone else to set up the appointments, and then our salesperson or estimator has to go out on the job, and all the information in right there and then. So we're not populating anything for our sales.
The advantage in this situation is the program that we use, RW will go in and basically just sync up his appointments for that day. All this information is already uploaded into his machine. He gets out to the house, does the cube sheet accurately, and he can apply pricing right in the field.
Yeah, I'll show you.
What are you syncing up to?
It's 2 steps. We're trying to get it down to 1 step. It's 2 steps. We enter the jobs through Mr. Mover software, and then it connects with IGC, which is called Quick Move,
So we transferred over to Quick Move. And then the Quick Move goes to the survey back to Quick Move back to.
My OA.
It can be reversed too. So this one I'm creating in the field right now, I can go back, or even in the field, just get the thing, it goes back up to the IGC. The ladies in the office can bring it back over to our other one. So I can start the field, so it'll go either way. All this information I'm putting down can still just be imported right back over to our in-house.
I can push out.
You can, okay. All right, so I put a customer in there. I've got an address there. I've got California. I sell sales out there on a daily basis, and they go all the time. I'm going to show you here in a minute. I'm going to show you the price of the field. I'm going to put a phone number in here, and all this is so you can see, you can add different. I'm having a look and see. I'm just seeing what y'all see here, but so I'm just going to put here. Please select. I'll get a home phone. Put in here. All right, and I save that. And then, you can go back in there and you can add other phones. I did home there, you can do mobile, other work, add new. So I have that information. I hit. So I have the phone number in there. All right, so now you can see where dates is there. These dates, I can turn those off if there's not going to be any tax on the job. I'll just I'll turn that off and I'll go back and show you. So see, it took out the tax dates there. All right. So
now it's important to actually add the load date because the fuel surcharge and peak or non-peak type rates will apply based on the date.
Right. So as I go along, I've just changed my dates there. I put tax dates in there. I've got my load dates. I've put the delivery and the RDD numbers for the required delivery date or spread dates. So you can do it all right there. And again, I don't know how you were doing it on paper, so it's hard for me. This is just what I've done and what I've learned on, so it's easier for me. All right, you can see it when I put in my zip code as well. If you're doing a interstate job or a local job, it counted the miles for me there, 2598 from Midlothian to California, Beverly Hills, 2,598 miles. So when I go to show you how to do the estimate here in a second, it's already done on that form. All right, so on this page right here, where it says comments there under pricing information, top to bottom, I do a lot of different things here. If it's in-house and it's exported over to me, those notes the people in the office already wrote most of me as well, so I can see that if I'm out in the field and say, hey, we got this survey for you to go do. Well, it pulls down those notes so I can see it. Also, anything I add here goes back up, and it does for me, and I'll show you on the table of measurements. So I'm just going to put here, I usually put just any truck, usually, I kind of look at, these are things that I look at when I'm out there. I'll put 40-foot door to curb. So again, this is going back and communicating with the operations and the drivers, and also they know exactly what they're looking at when they go out there. And there's other places in here I'm going to show you that you can do this as well, but I just do extra notes. I'm going to show you in the table measurements here in a minute. All right, so on the front page, that's about it. Up at the top right, you see detailed survey. Our survey is actually where I'm into the house. So you have rooms on the top left there. All right, so I'm going to do my drop down. This comes with rooms already set up in it. I've added some as I went because they were not in there. So see, you can see they're added too. Some houses have got attic on this side and they walk towards another. So I separate it. So we're just going to pick what's the room here. And a lot of these I've added. We'll do a dining room. All right, so then it shows you a list of the items that are normally in a dining room there. So you can change that. If I go to all, you see room down here at the bottom. If you go to the right there, it says all. It lists everything that could be in the house. So you can scroll through your list. So the list on the right is my boxes, but as I scroll up, it's in alphabetical order. Let's say I'm in the dining room. I want a table. So you can scroll all the way down to the T or just push there on the right, and it goes right to that alphabet, this guy. So there you see, I'm in the dining room, you see a dining table there, like 6, 7 points down. You can do a kitchenette table, because a lot of them have a smaller weight table. Mine, I've had it set up on 7 cubes per pound, and you can change that, and I do as I go room to room. Again, I was not in the business, but we all know how to figure weight. So, I'm just going to hit dining room table with this one. This guy's at 30 cubes. It's a pretty big table, it's going to see, go down to the list of chairs here. CBC, the child chair, dining chair, folding chair. Again, the cubes online are set the way I want, but you're going to do your own as you go on. So I would pick, dining chair with 8 of those in there. All right, and let's see here. So I'm going to go back over here. We're going to go to hanging room. And I used all of this myself, just the way I've gotten used to it. I'm sure there's a lot of things that are in this program and this iPad that you can use and can get better at. It's just, I've learned my way, so that's the way I do it. Is anybody using an iPad and IGC other than me? Use their IGC here? Okay. So y'all probably know some little tricks and things that I don't know. This is just how.
Okay. For example, take a dining room table, insert just below that dining room table chair. So you're not going back and forth to get those chairs. You just think of the kitchen. With all
So you have it right there. You're looking at your table, you get your table, then your 8 chairs, whatever you do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you customize it, make it
Hey, RW, one other thing, you pop that box up and it says ship, and right underneath that, you did it just a minute ago. Just so, I mean.
Oh, yeah. Like,
while
you did it
quick.
while you're at it. Yeah, so like,
So
do here, we're gonna, we're gonna, that was saying not ship too.
Exactly.
Right, right. So it'll change your cube at the end. Go ahead. Well, yeah, see, you can change it here, like, so again, and sometimes, if you're in a room, a TV stand's not 50 pounds, you might want to change it to 35 pounds, so, you can go in here and change the cube, change that to what you want. So in this instance here, I'll take that for 5, this is on the chairs, the kind of 35 pounds of things on. So, I just say, those are some lighter chairs, and I'll just say, that's 28 pounds. So we'll change the cube at the end of this. Also, you can write, I'm gonna go ahead and write a comment on this chair here. I'm gonna just put, I'll show you at the end. We'll see where these notes come up. I'm just gonna put something random in here.
RW, show them the photo option.
Okay. So like my dining room chair, my dining table here, where it says surveyed items, see little blue stuff, that's a picture of a camera. So if you push that, you're able to take a photo. So you select what you want to take a photo of. Right now, the dining table and the dining chair. So I'm going to select the dining chair, and it gives me view as photo, taking a picture, or add system. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put that. Okay, I'm just going to take a picture. So now I've got a picture, of that item, whether I do it a lot of times, if we got big items, security okay, we got a lot of glass and stuff in, or we got to have something creative, even though I take the dimensions, I put the dimensions in my comments as well, so it all comes out of my table measurements, so I'm going to show you here in just a second.
And the dispatch, they're able to pull up those pictures and show them.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, for me, if the people out doing that, for me personally, I see what you're saying, yes. No, I think in the open movers guys are doing inventory, do they have access to that?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
When we're doing inventory, we use the same, very similar, same maker for inventory. And guys, they start talking to customers, they start talking about all the things they have. Guys, right away, we're taking pictures all over the house.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Wes, is that your driver who's taking the pictures?
Yeah, all of our drivers have iPad inventory. And the great part about that is once they weigh their shipments, they take pictures of the weight tickets and scan program that we have for the iPad. And they email those to us along with the inventories, and it's already in digital form, so we'll send it to the carriers, whoever might need it. And our customers sign our inventories actually on the iPad as well.
And the program is mobile movers?
And a lot of that stuff seems a little daunting at first, or really expensive. But the more you go and look at some of this stuff, it's really,
There's a real cost savings.
it's amazing.
It's
And it's the stuff that it
You want to
does.
pay now or pay later?
That's right.
Your shipping volume will go up without your stuff.
I just have a question about the photography. Have you ever had anyone go?
Yeah, that's me.
How can you get mad at RW?
That trust me, my girl can tell you.
Yes, sir. The other thing was, you know, if you have a, let's say you have a mirror, well, you know, that mirror might be the gold leaf with all of the fancy, you know, filigree at the top. I mean, you know, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So instead of writing 1,000 words, just take a picture of it, and then that way, you know, when it comes time to prepare for packing that, you can just click on the picture, show the packer, and say, this is what you're going to have to pack. So,
And usually, you know, when you preface it with the customer by telling, wow, that's beautiful, I really want to make sure I spend extra time with the guys, they have no problem.
When they see unusual pieces, they'll take pictures, and when the survey gets to operations, they'll actually print the picture, and it's going out on the job, so the guy's looking at it right in front of us.
Yeah, and you was talking about, I think Roger was earlier, the oxygen or trail, whatever. This kind of protects you as the estimator, and the more detail you do, once this gets to operations from the driver to whoever, they say, well, we didn't know that, well, then, you know, you put it on, you go back and look at it, so it's going to protect you in one way.
I also want to say that if you are using, you know, the iPad, we found that the customers are very interested. I mean, they're not opposed to using it; they're actually very interested in using it, and they see that as you being an advanced,
right?
You know, supplier of you know what you're doing.
All right, let's see here. I'm trying to just, you know, show you all things to do. All right, so like if, and this has got so many things. I'm just going to, you know, you can add items like where it says available items there on the right hand side. I've added a lot of stuff down in here. So what I do is I've added a room over here as well, and it's called access conditions. All right, so then I put rooms. These are all the things that I added on my iPad that I see when I go out to the job. In other words, if I'm out, I'm doing a 2-story apartment, I'm letting the guys in operations know this. I'm going to go back on my table measurement. Okay, so I'm doing a 2-story apartment. Let's see, I'm just going to go. It's got an attic. It's carpet in there. The truck's going to know that it's a cul-de-sac when they get there. So, you know, all those big trucks, small trucks. But it's got hardwood floors. This is all stuff I put in here. It wasn't in the program. It's just what I put in so that people know what I'm seeing. Let's see here. So again, over here on available items, you can add stuff there. You know, I can put in there this podium, and then once I can leave it as 0 cube, or I can put a cube in for it as soon as it's in my list item. And I'm sure we've all had the same time. You walk into a house and you see things that I've never moved one of those before. But you know, so I've come up with names in here that y'all might call a plant stand. I call something else. You know what I mean? So somebody had mentioned it earlier. You know, when we were doing that phone call and asked them, okay, and he said 200-pound items in here. So me, I might be calling that chair something different. So it helps me go back to that. All right, so I'm trying to touch base on everything. All right, I've got a few items in. Let's go to what to do. So we have carrier pack banner bottom and PBO. All right, so I'll do both of those carrier pack. I'm gonna put in. I'm just putting in some random stuff here, and then I'm gonna put in some PBO.
But that's a good example. It shows you how easy it is to add them.
Right. You know, I'm just touching them there and adding them in. Now you can also go into where it says survey cartons there. You fill it on. You know, survey top 4 or 5. I can adjust it right there as well. You know, so I can plus in or minus out what I want to do there. All right. So I think I've kind of touched base on if I'm going through room by room with somebody, you know, time to add stuff. So I'm going to go back to detail now. And now, the items I've got on here, so 1,015 pounds, okay, so it's already got my cube there. I've got 35 items shipping, 2 items not shipping, and 2 boxes that are 2 carried, 1 back, 4 down. So it's cubed and it's got my weight there, 1,015 pounds. So, again, for me, this is the way I learned. I don't know how, you know, y'all do it on paper, you know, man.
Well, what do you do with your battery guys?
I keep the charger in my car at all times. In between appointments, I'm plugging in because I've done, you know, 5 or 6 a day, and you know, it's before I got that, I wasn't going to very late, and I thought I got to charge. Yeah, I keep it charged. Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do here, and just so there's no percentage in here, so you can see there's no percentage. I'm not gonna give any numbers away here. I'll do that here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not giving numbers away, so there's not a percentage in here you're gonna be able to see anything, but I just want to show you how easy it is, you know, to show the customer on site. So if I'm there on site, not only that, this goes back to our office. I'm gonna put here, this is gonna be a non-binding estimate. We're going to California there, you see. This is what I would send back. This is what the office is seeing when I send it back. So you can email this report, so you can email your estimate, you can email the table measurements there at the top. So I'm gonna preview, and I'm gonna preview my table measurements there at the bottom. This is what is sent back to the office. This is what the customer sees. So there's all the information. You see where my name, the origin details are. You know, I have my name. We're going to California. There's my move date. Now there's the boxes I'm packing. See the packing services summary. I've got me doing 13 and PBO 7 there. So, and then this is what they see as well. All this is printed off and it goes in the driver folder as well. So you know, you can see their access conditions there. You know, I put the carpet. I'm gonna make my boxes in the same room. But you can see where I did up the hardwood floors, attic, cul-de-sac carpet. So again, that's easy for them to read and see. And you see special instructions there. I know it's hard for y'all to see about under the second star black box. That's where those comments I put on the front page. I put any connect says, you know, before we put door curves. So they see that on there as well. You know, even if you miss it in this, you can still write comments and that, you know, they're looking at totally different places.
I think what's noteworthy here, you know, the first page, the first section is you see the special notes in the packet, which is basically what you're getting in the packet.
Right. And so it's got my rooms, and then you down here at the bottom where it says move summary, you can move summary. You can see now it shows that I'm shipping that 1,015 pounds, but the not shipping the 28, the 2 chairs that I took out. So it's pretty cool when you print this off, you know, and then I go back and I look at my weights when I sell a job. I like to know how close I am to actually what I estimated that. You know, I've just always done it. I guess it has helped me on this. This you can go back and see. And again, if the customer tells you, you know, that's not going to be there on ship days, then it's not supposed to. You can go back and there. So it's just things. I'm kind of touching up what everybody said, but I'm showing you how to do it electronically versus what you're doing with paper right now. That's the table measurements. That's what the office sees. Again, touching on what everybody said is when you make those phone calls, this is what the people in the office have to go off of if they're going to talk to that customer. I do a lot of mine myself. I like to talk to the customer, but I get busy sometimes when I can't. So they have this that they can call and touch base.
When you send this back to the office, does it come in a format that is protected so you see the original estimate, and then if it has to be altered, does it?
Once it's uploaded back into the software, when he syncs it, it'll sync back up with the software on our server, and at that point it can be adjusted.
But does never, if it had to be adjusted down, would it retain the information of the first estimate?
Yeah, it keeps an estimate and a sub estimate. Show them the estimated.
Okay. So what I'll do, over here, like if I was going on and I was going to sell a job, I've got this at 0%, so there's not really going to be definite numbers shown. So I go to price information here. We'll just put a 4% fuel surcharge in there, the IR 4%. Now I've got price packing there. So there's 2 ways to do this: price packing or full pack by the hundredweight. So let's see, I've got it off here. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways. If I'm out with a customer and I never want to know what it's going to cost to move them, I'll just select the preview or the estimate net. And so I'm right there on site. I can show them this, and I'll show you these are a couple
Show
different
the
things.
e-sign agreement
Yeah.
and the signature on site.
You bet. So this is what my customer would see. You know, I've got my transportation there. Of course, we're going to California. It's only 1,000 pounds there, but I've got you can see it's got the origin feed destination. It's got my see, I piece packed on this one, so my pack is 532. You got your fuel surcharge in there. It's got 60-cent standard valuation. All right, so I'll show you the difference, and then I'm gonna come.
Scroll down to the bottom. Doesn't it automatically show them the charges they could?
Yeah,
happen
like
at the destination as well.
right. Well, it does for your valuation right there in the middle of the screen. So I've got it with right now 60 cents per pound, which is the dark black at the bottom one. But if you go in and do full value with a zero deductible, it changes the price, right? It changes the price from $39.44. Go back to the box. If you did zero deductible, it would show it at $41.14. So you can show your customer this is what it'd be if you do a zero deductible. If you go down one, this is what it'd be if it's a 250 deductible, so they can see.
And it keeps you in compliance with federal law because you have to show that.
Right, and no, Wes, what you're wanting to see is on your order of service here. Let's see. So we're still
which is what the customer's saying.
Yes, this would be here. Like if I'm there on site, and I want them to sign one, this is what I would have them sign.
One good thing to note is that you should have Wi-Fi and wireless on your device, because you're not always going to have Wi-Fi, so you're going to have to use your data, which is what you're doing now, which is why it's taking a while.
All right, so this is more or less the same, but if you notice there at the top, it went from estimate, there next to ARPA, and it went from estimate to order for service. So this is what I'd have the customer sign if I was out there. All the numbers are still the same. You see where it says customer signature right there underneath the total estimated cost? Okay, so we scroll it down. This is what somebody was talking about earlier, the extra, the add-ons. Here's the add-ons. Yeah, so this is if they didn't request it, but they want an unpacked and full service there, it's $15.90 at a 100-weight what it's got here this time, so it costs $161 for that full unpack. So these are things, Shuttle's the big add-on for me, because I don't like to surprise the customer, but Google, thank God for Google Maps, because you can, even if you don't get to go to destinations, you can Google the surrounding areas. So, but Shuttle's a big add-on. So, but there again, so I'm gonna show you now. If I wanted to have this customer, all right, yeah, I want to move with you. I like that number and everything. Well, there in the right-hand corner, you've got sign and action. So if you chose actions, you can email that, print it, email, print, save library. All right, I'm gonna do none of that. I'm gonna go back to sign, and this is for the customer. So the customer just put. We got John on there. Sorry.
Can this allow you, if a customer didn't get a deposit on you, deposit at the same time?
We have no problem getting that done. Give us a call, we'll be able to
Sometimes they
take
just
that.
want that receipt in hand or know that you're going to reflect it.
Email it right to this one.
Yeah, once this loads up, I'll show you that I've got. So let's see where now it says John there. So they sign on the line there. So what I would do is just now go back to action, email that to them, and then they've got their copy right there.
A lot of times they want the stuff emailed to them, so they don't have to track a piece of paper and go back right.
Right. Yeah, and for me personally, I mean, I try to carry it when I can. We're going to get a little printer set up, but very few out of all the ones I've been doing in over a year, I probably had two that wanted paper, and actually just had to mail them back to them because they were a long distance from me, But yeah, most of the time people are just looking for the email copy of it. Yeah, and I send a lot of the rights and responsibilities PDF. As soon as you give them the book, I mean, it saves a lot. They got it right there. People would rather read that.
If you put a reader sheet on your rights and responsibilities, you're covered on both ends.
Yeah, I don't. I think I probably showed you just a quick run through it. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer for you.
You had a couple screens back, you had a ship, not ship. Is there a store option as well? There's store?
No, what I've done for myself is I've created, like, if I go into a house and the customer, and I remember when I first started, I was got in there and they walk so fast, it's like I can't even push this quick, but then they're saying this goes here, this goes here. Or moves that I've done, I'll give you an example, like we're doing a 2-part move for them. They're going to go to a temporary residence. They're going to take some of these items to a temporary residence. So I just create a room for those items. That's what I do. I created right here in this list. Those items are going to the temporary residence, and then I just go back and do the rest on my regular survey.
It'll break it down on your survey and say this is the action. So you just built the room, you could have just said storage.
Right,
And
right.
everything, you could have right into that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you do knock shift, what you want to do too, if you do knock shift, which is helpful, it's still going to break that weight and cube for you down on your table of measurements versus what's coming in the store. You see what I'm saying? So you definitely want. I'd say it's not going. Even if you're doing a separate room, you know, just make it not going because it's going to differentiate the two on your table of measurements as far as weight and cube. Any other questions?
I'll throw out one more thing. Nobody asked, how much does it cost? Do you guys want to know?
Yes.
Okay, so, come with $20 and I'll tell you. Be the best $20 you invest all day. So we have, 3 iPads. We had to get a server. We have to buy the software and the support. And so your initial startup investment using 3 iPads is just generally around 15 grand. Okay, so you know, you can figure out the rest of it. The iPads are about, you know, $400 or $500 a piece, and you have to pay per unit. So you want to choose your number, you know, appropriately. We use Wi-Fi only. It was a means of keeping our costs down, but eventually, if you find that you'll probably find that your 3G or, you know, having your data pack is worth I don't know, $60.
Well, that's the reason why I wanted to kind of show all the sizes. This is sort of, you know, the hydro, you know, package. And paper would be probably the cheapest way, and then.
Well, I guess in answer to your question earlier, I guess it'd be about 15,000.
That's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. Just give them a call. They're real easy to work with, and I think they'll do it on a per user basis because you can work off of their service. You don't necessarily have to.
Yeah, another thing too.
So you can club it. Yes, yes.
Not just into the estimate thing, but with the iPad and doing the Wi-Fi, I can actually log into our server from the field. If no one in the office can help me, I can log on and look at the schedules, look at everything. You know, I've got access to it.
Not to mention navigation and all that other stuff. But Jeff's right. I mean, if you want your own system set up in your own environment, then that's what you're looking at. But there's other options.
All right. Yeah.
We're with Atlas, and Atlas has, we're getting ready to switch over to the IT software. So all we have to do is purchase the iPad, and then of course, we have to have the insurance on it. And then they're also making us do, or you go out inventory, scan the inventory, and then they sign right then and there. So, and that's an additional $270. For the little thing.
I see, that's the thing, and I always like to try to bring everybody back down to where we are. And we got 160 members, 140 are moving together, 20, you know, suppliers and all that. Now, the 140 members, we probably have 120 that are the small business. So sometimes a program like this may be completely, you know, if they're not part of the AMI system or whatever. And Roy is a good example of that. He's sort of independent. And this system is, that's $15. Yeah.
But Roger helped us with this. I've heard 2 separate people say what a smart guy Roger is. Today. So one thing that I come from a construction background. I was in the construction industry for 27 years. I was an estimator and a project. And it's great background in the moving industry, which I had no clue about when my wife started our business 15 years ago. It's real. In the construction industry, one thing that's true, what was true in our company, was we got a set of plans and specs, and hopefully they were real good. Architects have gone through all the discovery with the client, so all we have to do is build what was on the plan. We other ones that weren't very good because there were a lot of add-on, right?
Word of the day.
Hey, that's where a contractor makes some money, right? So you really want a good set of plans to spec. You're an architect, make sure you have good plans to spec things before. Moving business, I've found is a lot different than that. We write the plan and specs in effect. And we do like Linda, we do a lot of high touch moves, a lot of moving parts, sometimes vulnerable customers, sometimes multiple family members, professionals, real estate agents, attorneys. So there's a lot of information gathering on that first visit. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes we're just moving across town. We do a lot of local moves also, which makes it a little simpler. But this is a pretty inexpensive product, and it's great at gathering information, which is a whole lot of what's important for us, right? We need to know what does the customer want, why they bring it, what's important to them. And all that information has to be gathered, it has to be organized, it has to be communicated through the system from one, the estimator, the dispatcher, the movement through. What y'all were showing, that IBC system, which is great. I just really envy that seamless. This involves some, once the data is gathered, then it involves some keying and, you know, it's not that fluid. But $15,000 sounds like a bargain. Really. Because, I mean, what information, right? Communicating to the customer. Okay, we've chatted. This is what I understand you want. You know, this piece is going here. Aunt Jenny's getting this piece. Your daughter's taking this. Your son's going to pack this. Understanding it, gathering it in an organized manner, communicating it back to the customer, communicating it with people in your operation and execute. All that's really critical to delivering good customer service. Because in the moving business, I can tell you, I hate add-ons. Don't want them. I mean, yeah, let's upsell, but if we're going to do that, let's let the customer know this is what we estimate. This is what our price is based on. These things you told us somebody else was doing. You didn't need them. So when you make that call 5 days before, and this is Jen says, you know, I just haven't packed anything. Does that ever happen?
I like it when they pack 2 miles, it's not that all.
So then you can turn to the estimator and say, well, and it's really kind of a complicated thing when you first look at it, but it really holds all the variables. I think you've got your direct, moving storage, extra stuff, a lot of extra stuff from what we do. The way you keep it footage, by the room, so it's really to explain this. I guess I'm a little different. I've never done this for 5 minutes. I usually spend a little time talking, walk through the house, and then and explain to them. I get there after you told me we've understood and I know what you want. Then I'm going to make a trip through the house by myself and just do a detailed survey. And this is what we use. It worked out really well. It's got I can't remember. Yeah. And you use this on tablet? I've actually been using it on a laptop computer. Is that right? I was too cheap to buy a tablet, but I've got a tablet now. And it'll work on the desktop as well. Right?
Now this is a Windows-based Microsoft product, and so So this will work on the Surface. Yeah, a Samsung
Right.
or something like that. And what is the cost of something like this?
$300.
$300. And it'll work on it. And it's got the different tabs. You got the shipping profile.
This is that. And this is what breaks it down by room, and inspection instructions, all of that's there. Room data. This is what you're talking about earlier, room data. You go room by room, it breaks it out by room. What I always like is, I like to watch the graph over here. Because it shows the graph and then it shows the, we come to look at that all the time. But anyway.
Well, you probably, you know this a lot better than I do, but it's, this is an Excel spreadsheet. On steroids. So once the data is gathered, then you have a basis to make your estimate from. I've added a little so that I can convert weight to hours, cost of freighting, all that sort of thing.
This is, I designed this to show the customer, to give us part of the estimate, kind of what you're doing. So this shows what goes and doesn't go, and he breaks it down by, main floor, upstairs, basement, and has a chart. And that's part of the presentation.
Are you offering training on this as well?
Well, yeah.
Roger came to us and trained on it. It's not very cool. That's all I've got.
Bring it, take us back in time. Take us back in time and say, oh, well,
I don't think I'll pick up Roger, she's back there. But, back in 1993, working with the local therapy, when we closed their first thing with us and said, you want to use this instead of the other sheet. And I looked at it and said, oh my gosh, this is just, this is over too much. But I took it home and studied it, and I hated the other sheet because everything, newer houses didn't have all those old-fashioned things from the 50s, and so I was making all these notes, and what this is, it's a clean slate that you adapt for yourself. And you can use your own codes for what you want to do. For example, if somebody says, I want you to pack large pictures, well, where you have mirrors, you just put the pack and circle it, and then at the end, you pack it. If you're going to do a multiple location move I've done one to as many as 5 states at one time out of a state, then you just close the state and you put an A for Alaska under the sofa. You see what I mean? You can customize this to how you think. And what I always started doing was I start at the front door and I go to my left and I go in a room from left to right, and then I circle through the house. Next I go upstairs to the left, go through every room left to right, go to the basement. Many times you're going to god awful mess in the basement. I would turn the sheet over and make a grid of what the basement is and make notes of everything that goes. I never concentrated on no-goes unless they were relatively heavy, then I would make notes. But I can assure you, if you are starting to use a cube sheet, don't start using the old-fashioned. Because when I started using this cube sheet, my estimates have been, since then, 96% or greater. And I'm like, no more exact. And when I switched to Atlas, I had to go to Atlas school, and they showed us these slides, okay? And so I said to the instructor, I said, well, can I use my cheat sheet? She said, oh, I don't care what you use. So they show all these slides, and I'm and everybody else is struggling. Well, the difference in weight of what people calculated was almost 3,500 pounds on a 7,000 pound sheet of
Wow,
Okay,
wow.
I was 125 pounds off, and I want to watch.
Is it at the watch?
I just want to let you know, this is not daunting as it looks. And then when you start thinking, oh, I can do this or I can do that. And I thought when we started using ITC, oh no, you know, you're taking this away.
Right.
But now you can take my left arm, but you can't take my right. Really. And like been saying about the iPad, once you use this, then you learn how to adapt your iPad to so many other things. Make that go fast. Make that go fast. All these years I thought, dude, this guy is so smart. And where is he? Who is he? And where is he? And I didn't have that meeting until last year.
Yeah, that's what my mom said. God, you turn around and look, he said, I wonder who rocked you really well for 20 years.
I think everybody's getting antsy, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But, you know, I always come here and I'm kind of nervous in the mornings. I never really know how these things are going to turn out. But every single time that I come to these, they just keep getting better and better. The interaction, not only with the industry folks and us up here, but with you guys talking to each other and meeting each other and talking about the business, it definitely brings us all up a notch. So I think that you guys spend your time wisely coming here today. And I think we're going to have one more giveaway, right? Ernie, if you want to do the honors there. Everybody check your numbers. This is not fake.
You got a watch.
Yeah. We got a used watch from North America 20 years ago.
Here it is.
435-271.
271.
You call.
No, man, it's not me.
Could be.
All right, well, none of this would be possible without the hard work of Roger Moody here, and I just want to say thank you, Roger. I appreciate it. This is our final meeting until after the summer, so if everything goes well, we'll have one in September, and that'll wrap it up for the year. But, Roger, thank you. Great summer.
Stop.